With the invocation and remain to the pledge. Lord, we give you thanks for this day, Lord, another opportunity to be here. Healthy, Lord, and able to be present. Pray that you be with this council, Lord, as you guide us. This meeting be productive and work your will and ultimately what is best for the residents of this town. In your son's name, amen. And our all meeting order, let's go ahead and do the pledge. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. And I'll go ahead and kick off the roll call on here. Councilwoman Terry.
Here.
Councilman Hill. Here. Councilwoman Parks.
Here.
And Councilman Coon.
Here.
All right, and Mr. Bullard.
Present.
Okay, so we got everyone. Well, we got additions, deletions, changes, approval of the agenda.
So we want to note Kelly here is acting or interim town clerk.
Kelly, yes, Kelly, you here?
I'm here.
Yes, present. Okay, so we got.
I have some changes. I had a few things that were put under council member comments, the one under agenda. Under the comments, that number 2, the FERDAP grants. And number 3, with some maintenance issues, and I had suggested maybe Bill Coon could get involved in that.
Okay. For the, now, are those for council action? Like I see Councilwoman Merrick says update.
Yes.
Is this something for action? Okay.
Is it, I don't know if it's something for that, or is it just the update?
Just a status. Just a status for it.
So we're moving
And
items.
then I wanted the depot on there one more time on the agenda under actions. And I think maybe are we discussing the depot?
12.
12.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
rough. Yeah. So status of FERDAP grants, we'll make that 14.
Sign out or anything?
Nope, no sign. Status of FERDAP grants, and then 15 is okay, public works.
You said 15 was public works?
We'll change that. Yeah, we're gonna put the one that's number 3 under council member comments. She wants to move that. Yeah.
Okay.
I just abbreviated.
Straight 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Those will be the new 14 and 15.
Mr. Buller had a couple of things too.
What? Okay.
The, Mr. Bailey was here and he had asked to give an update, to you all, so I thought maybe if you made him 1A, you could do budget as 1B. It would keep your numbers all the same. If that makes sense, like 1A would be the addition, it would be Mr. Bailey. Then budget would become 1B, then it just, everything would flow like how it is. And then in 7B, there was the letter from the clerk, and that you already talked about that at your last meeting. Maybe strike 7B, so we've already talked about that. And, you all are involved in some discussions with Ms. Benini about that, so that would be my suggestion to delete that.
Okay, so we'll move that. And then you said make Greg 1A.
A and budget 1B.
And then
And then
And
striking
then strike
7.
7.
7 B,
B. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, 7B. Strike that.
But I think wouldn't we want to strike the entire 7 because dissemination of information sort of ties in?
Is that the same thing? Is it about
Well,
the same
it
thing?
leads to,
Well, it was because so in the email from the clerk, it references
right, the dissemination.
it references. But I mean, I guess we can just do one up. I mean, What do you think, Brad? We can do one, not the other, or?
You could do one or not the other, you could also, because I think this is, and you could do it here perfectly fine, but it seemed as if, like, you all as a group need to make a decision, or have some discussion or figure out, like, what is it you're expecting from the clerk to provide to you individually, so that you all either, you know, so that the clerk knows, like, hey, they want this. Because right now, the clerk wouldn't have any real direction, like, is the clerk forwards you a blind copy, you want it every single email, does she send you every single correspondence? Yeah, that would be like, you would be getting everything the clerk would be getting, would be a way to disseminate information. The clerk could set up meetings with the council members, like individually, and have like standing meetings or standing conference calls where she could talk about, hey, here's what's going on, you know, these things. Maybe then in that conversation, she could forward you information if you ask for it. It's just like to give the clerk direction on what you
So
want.
are we keeping that portion of 7A?
Yes.
And
So
just striking
So we'll
7?
keep, yeah,
So this has nothing to do with Kerry personally? Okay,
no,
okay.
okay. Was that all you had,
Yes,
right? Alright, anybody got anything else?
Well, we can talk about it when we get to hiring them. We got a couple of people looking for some business license to get some businesses going. I guess we can talk about that when we talk about the planning.
Now, for the business licenses,
Well, one of them not a business license, one of them is they're trying to build on today's hardware,
oh, yes, yeah, okay.
and that really has, the building has to do with something, they don't have to do with it, but they need a letter from us.
We got to prove their permitting and all that, yeah.
Right.
Okay. You can bring that up if you want, Aaron, like I said.
I will, that one is outside town here, these people trying to rent where the car lot was out there.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that when we
Yeah.
get to making sure it's under the same category.
So, where's town plan, right there? Okay. 2. Everybody, good with that? Alright, if everyone's good with those changes, then we'll just need a motion to approve it with those changes.
So,
Okay, is there a second?
so,
Alright, all in favor, say aye.
no,
Opposed, say nay. Okay. Passing unanimously. Alright, for new business, and just a heads up for everyone, I gotta be out here right around 8 p.m. I think we should be able to get through most of it done. Okay. Okay, number 1, well, Mr. Bailey, if you want. Give your,
minutes approval?
We got to do minutes.
oh, yep, I skipped that. July, thank you. Alright, July 31st and September 4th, special meeting. July 31st, regular town council meeting, and September 4th, town council special meeting.
I make a motion to approve the July 31st, 2025 meeting.
Okay, is there a second?
No, sir.
All fair side? Opposed, say nay. Alright, we got those approved, and then there's the September 4th one. Which? Oh, yeah, that's right.
I make a motion to approve this, cut down 4 minutes.
4%, okay. All fair side?
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Alright, we got the minutes approved. Public comment. Does anybody have anything they want to discuss that's on the, agenda? Anybody got a public comment to make or public input before we move on? Nope. Alright. Now, Mr. Bailey, if you would.
Good evening, council. I wanted to give you kind of an update.
meeting. As concerns utilities, I will address part of item 3, which is, you got coming up later, because in my mind, it kind of affects all what we're doing, but, after the last meeting where y'all voted to move ahead, we sent a notice of intent to award, to the clerk's office. They forwarded that on to the contractors. My question, and I briefly talked to the city attorney about this, is, does he want to do the contract, or do y'all want us to do the contract? We have kind of a standard contract that we use. Some communities have their own special contracts. We just need to know. I think Rex is fine with us using our standard. It's kind of an industry standard, it's an EJCDC document. We've used it for other state grant work before, so unless y'all have any objections, that's what we'll do. We'll get that prepared, move that document forward to Mr. Bullard for him to review and approve, and then on to the contractors. As we talked about, time is of the essence. I would ask that if for the approval for either the mayor or some designee to be able to approve that contract once it's received back from the contract, so we don't have to wait for an extended amount of time. If that's what y'all, however you don't need to handle that for your procurement.
I'll make a motion that we approve the contract, providing that Rep. Bullard says it's a good contract.
For, okay, the standard one that they, industry standard?
Well, whatever he,
Yeah,
if
okay,
he says this is, I mean, that's my motion.
A second.
okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Okay, that passes, so we'll go with that one. As far as once the council has approved the agreement, standard is I sign it,
Correct.
so.
So we'll have it for the mayor's signature, and then once we get it back, typically the way we always work it, we send it to the contractor first, and it comes back to the last.
I had a question, so I know I forget the name of the vendor, the one who's doing, I think, the distribution system, they were a little high for the potential negotiations. How does that kind of work behind the scenes, or?
I'm going over that next.
Okay,
Before I get to that, I got a couple other things. Due to the amount of time and everything, we did send our environmental scientist back out there to verify. We do have Joe Forces out there. He's completed his survey as far as the site goes for that. We do have to deal with one, so we're working on what that will look like. There are provisions in the Gopher Tortoise regulations where you can actually pay to relocate, or you can actually just pay a fee and then entomb them, kind of thing. So we're working with them and the FWC on how that will work. There are some other ones out there, but they're in a position that we can work around all those. So, but we do have to deal with one that we verified,
a single tortoise?
a single tortoise. But you got more out there. I don't want you to think that's the only one we
Only-
got. There's
only
more
one-
out there,
only one.
but the other one we can work around. We have to stay a certain distance away from as far as construction, but they've already said, as far as spray field and us, sprinkling water on grass, that's not detrimental to the golf courses. So good there. So that's where we're at with that. As far as the contract goes, the wastewater plant came in within our estimate. The collection system, when we went to the other vendor, that put us beyond our estimate and beyond what the grant amount is. So typically one we've reached out to DEP because you do have the other grant, and we're trying to see if we can work anything with that other grant. We haven't gotten a response back. We had that phone conference about 10 or 12 days ago, almost 2 weeks ago. So DEP was working with their team to figure out what can be done with the current funds, and then with the new funds the town's been awarded to be able to cover all this. The other option is to reduce some of that scope of work and get it back in. When we do these projects, we do them in a fashion that's what we term as a unit price contract. So basically what that allows us to do, if we had 100 feet of pipe in there, we're only gonna install 50 feet of pipe, we know exactly what that reduction is, because we're paying for a pipe by the foot. You know, consequently, if we wanted to go over, if we had 100 and we want to go to 120, we know what that would be ahead of time. There's no change in that. So we're working with the contractor on that. What that results in is you do the contract for the original bid amount, and then we have an immediate change order to get it back to where we need it to be. And that's how we do that. So does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does.
I did have a conversation with Ms. Kelly. We've kind of gone through some personnel changes at different levels here. So we're gonna be working with her day to day as far as getting these steps completed and whatnot. Which brings me to the easements. Mr. Ray talked about one person that had a question, but yes, that's in the grant. We're going to do all the hookups and all of that for those. So there will not be any cost to the homeowners for them. So if that's their issue, then there is no issue. I do have a concern. I want to get those finished up. I know that was I don't know if it's a favor or what do you want to call it. I know they were from the county doing that work, and we've gone through the second person on that as well. The first one started and then couldn't finish it. We need to get those done. If we can get a meeting with them or whatnot, if there's anything we can do to help, I'll help wherever we can. Obviously, they're the ones that have to do the meetings and getting all those agreements signed by the property owners, but that needs to be done. I'm a little bit uneasy of going with getting the collection contract moving, and that's not having all those easements. It's a little bit about me. I used to work for DOT. We didn't worry about it because we went in eminent domain, but local governments do not tend to like going in eminent domain. So if somebody were to have a big hang up and say, oh, no, I'm not going to do this, then it would require change to the plans, and I don't have any contractor that would be held up for that. So times of this, we get those easy finished up. I don't know where we're at as far as the number of them. I don't know if anybody has an update on that, but that would be helpful. So,
I called Laura Nettle last week, and that's what I was gonna ask, or Brett, or I guess the council, if you wanna appoint formally or informally someone who can help. Carrie was really doing more of that, but help Kelly work on maybe trying to push through some of those easements. If anybody wants to volunteer to help.
Has everyone even been contacted yet?
So Carrie sent those, Kelly, did Carrie mail those all out, I think, right, before she left?
Before she left,
Yes,
to the best of my knowledge,
I think she did. She told me she was working on I know for a fact, I mean, we got one back signed. So I think the other 10 or 11 also went out, so.
So you can look at a list and say, Mr. Jones hasn't responded.
Yes, I believe Carrie had that list, and I actually spoke to Kelly to see if she could reach out where Carrie had it. She's usually pretty organized, so it should be hard to find. But
I can help.
there are two town parcels that are on there too, that an easement needs to be prepared for those. They're not technically right of way. If they were right of way, streets right of way, I'll tell you didn't need them, but they're actually parcels that the town owns. I would recommend that you do the paperwork that could file that easement so that it doesn't get forgotten in the future or something along those lines.
oh, okay. Look at easement for
Yes.
town.
Sure.
So it's, oh, yeah,
So, you mentioned the county had, to the interlocal with us to assist with those. I mean, do you think that's something that we need someone that handles this on a daily basis or on a regular basis to get involved in versus us designating somebody?
Once they're complete, they're done. I mean, it's not like we have something on a continuing basis. I would have thought they would have been done well before now, but the county person that was assigned originally
Right.
got into it and got into it pretty deep and then said, I can't finish this for, I don't remember what the reason was, it was a health reason or what. But,
Family emergency.
Yeah.
there was something, I don't remember what it was, but, and then we got a new person, well, she had to get up to speed and whatnot, so we lost a lot of time on that. But, once those are complete, we provided all the legal descriptions and all that as far as preparing the documents. They were preparing the actual easement documents, to go along with those legal descriptions, but that's pretty much boilerplate kind of stuff.
So we just need someone to make phone calls and find out
Yes, sir.
what their intentions are.
And I think it's only about like a dozen is all it was. It wasn't many.
Yeah.
And like I said, there were, I think it was 2 that were town parcels. That's just, you know, putting stuff together on the town side.
And we got one, there's another one who, I spoke with him, we had spoken about something else, and he told me he's on the list, so he's working with Laura to get that. So we should have a second one relatively soon, but still got, and 2 are ours, but we still got the other probably 7 landowners.
Okay.
Do we wanna authorize Mr. Bailey to have his staff go ahead and try to wrap those up? I mean, you offer,
We help on our end as far as what we do.
Right.
Meeting with the people, doing all that, that's more of
so
real estate.
all that you can do is done.
I've done, unless somebody has a technical question out there, or probably comes and says, hey, what does this mean? And the person cannot answer those questions, we'll be glad to step in and do that. But you know, scheduling a meeting with the property owner or whatnot, that's their role here.
Right, okay.
What may be a really good idea would be for you all to do a workshop and make yourselves aware of who the easement people that have the easements that you need. Because once you know that, you may have individual connections with those people. It might be easier for you to talk to somebody, 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 rather than giving it all to one person. Like, so you're number one, aware of who the landowners that are affected by this easement issue are, and so you can decide collectively what your, like, how the best way to go about that would be. That would be my thought, is just a way to, so everybody knows, and everybody has a little piece of, or maybe there's something that everybody could individually do to help.
I think we had that list before, like way back when we first addressed this. I don't think a workshop would be logical given the time that we have. So I think it is smarter to appoint one of us to contact them all, and then if that person runs into an issue with obtaining them, then we have to revisit it. But I think Carrie, and then appointing one of us, which I think Kelly, and then appointing one of us, I think, which Ms. Terry has agreed to help Carrie, contact them would be the most logical approach at this point, given the time restraints that we have.
Yeah, this goes back when Ms. Congress, she
Yes.
initiated a lot of contacts.
Yes, I think originally there were only 14 properties, and now we're still at 12 or so, with 2 of them being ours. So I don't know if the ball's just been dropped over and over, or they haven't had a personal phone call.
Whatever it is, I think we just move forward, maybe just a lack of communication. So I make a motion to appoint Ms. Catherine Terry to assist Kelly with contacting the easement owners.
Is there a second?
I'll see.
All fair side? Opposed, say nay? Good, okay, so hopefully that'll speed down.
And could we all, council-wise, get a list of the names that's on it in case we do know somebody?
Yeah, if it's like Mr. Brown, he might live close to you, or you've known him since grade school or something, you know?
Ms.
Ms.
Kelly,
Knowles had sent me all of the easements, all of the individual package, I mean, it's 13 different emails. Laura Knowles sent them all to me, you want me to send them all to you individually, so you'll know the parties that are.
Yes.
I mean, we might could assist her in one if you know them personally or something, might could help speed it up.
I think that would be a great idea, if anybody does know somebody that you can go ahead and initiate that.
Hey, I'll knock on doors.
And Kelly, if Carrie tells you where that, I know she has an Excel,
Yeah, she's got the file. Yep, I'll go through it.
then you can just, if you please would,
Yep,
email that out, so
Yep.
that way we can, okay,
yep.
good, okay, thank you, Ms. Bennett, okay, what else?
Just 2 more things, if it's okay with the town, I can get every one of your standard meetings going forward and kind of give you an update. We haven't been scheduled in the past, but if you want to put that on the schedule, I'm glad to do that. to move this thing forward. The last thing I have is related to your item 3, just some information. You know, I made the decision to move forward on the wastewater, but a lot of that was predicated on revenue from the water plant. Right now, my understanding is you don't have any revenue from the water plant, it all goes to the county. The county is getting out of the utility business. I keep hearing October 1, that we turn it over to the regional utility authority. If, based on your decision, the quicker you can start accumulating that revenue from the water plant, the better off you're gonna be. We're gonna be construction for a year, so you're not gonna have any sewer bills or any sewer operation to contend with for the year, but that gives you basically a year to start accumulating revenue off the water plant. So, just information.
Okay, so your section said won't be built for, okay, a year
Build
to
up
change,
to.
if we take it over 3-4 months, whenever we get a new clerk, we'll get that free revenue for that year.
So your
It ain't free, but you're gonna.
Yeah, well-
you'll get revenue.
Yeah,
So your interlocal agreement that you signed with Town of Fort White and Columbia County, they now notified us and say, hey, we're getting out of the water business October 1, 2025. But in the interlocal, and this other entity is going to be doing it for us, or doing it. And the separate legal entity, which is the Water Authority, North Florida, Water Authority, water utility, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So, but in your interlocal agreement, it says that you have, that's called an assignment. I have a contract with you to do something for you, now I'm gonna get somebody else to do it. That's called me assigning my obligations to someone else. In your interlocal agreement, it says I can't do that unless you consent to it. So if you don't consent to them assigning the ability to run your water plant to someone else, if you don't consent to that, you can do it yourself, because now they're not doing it anymore. So you could hire the people the county have hired to run your water plant, and instead of the county keeping the revenue, you keep the revenue, because you know when you get your sewer plant going, there's gonna be some deficit. So that revenue that you would be gaining from the water plant for this year, you can at least use to offset if you have a deficit going into your sewer project, going into your, does that make, are y'all following what I'm saying?
Yes.
yeah,
Mr. Chair.
yes, please.
So I talked to David Kraus today, about the water, because I saw it on the agenda. I was just wondering if he was gonna be here to give an update. And we talked about that assignment that you just referenced, Brett. And so it's my understanding from Mr. Kraus, and, of course, he said that would be, up to a legal interpretation by our attorney. But me and him talked about it, and I said, what if we don't do anything? Right now, we're undecided. He said that the interlocal agreement with the county is still in effect, and that we don't have to make a decision. He said, we don't have to agree for it to be assigned to the utility authority. He said it can remain in effect with the county until one or the other decides to notify the other that they want to end the agreement. So I don't believe, unless Mr. Bullard, disputes that on a legal basis, but I don't believe we have to make a decision right away, and we don't have to agree for it to be assigned to the utility authority. We can keep it in effect with the county and then have a workshop or whatever, and then we can decide to just leave it with the county. The way he explained it to me was that the county is going to contract with North Florida Water Utility Authority in October to perform our operations and maintenance, just like they have with Twofold or any other company. And so they wouldn't be assigning that contract in October. They would just be contracting with the utility authority to perform the operations and maintenance.
So on page 4 of 5 of your agreement, it says 11, assignment of interest. This is talking about your interlocal agreement between the county and the town. No party shall assign or transfer any interest in this agreement without prior written consent of the other parties. So I understand what Mr. Kraus is saying. I respectfully disagree with him because he's not a lawyer, and that is an assignment when you say, I have a legal obligation to do something for you under an agreement, but I'm getting someone else to do it. And don't worry about it. I'll just get them to do it and it'll be fine. Like, I can sidestep the assignment that way. If you want to run your own water plant and get the revenue, don't agree to the assignment and hire the people that are running it now for the county to run it for you and get the revenue. If you want to just let the county keep getting your revenue and not at least have that as something in your will, you could do that also. But if they're using someone else to run your water facility that isn't even them, why can't you use the same people to run your facility and keep the revenue as opposed to giving the money away? I mean, and you're giving the money to the county. Like, does that make sense?
Yes, it does, Brett, hold on, so let's not, let's, so what is that, so, but let's do the town plan first, and because the decision for the water plant is item 3. That way, so we're not jumping around, good discussion, that was good. Mr. Bailey, are you finished?
I'm done, that kind of relates to the other, just
Yes,
because
yes.
of the way you laid out your budgeting. And just the last comment I'll make is, the county's doing the billing for you, you have been doing the billing for that, so you'll need to consider that and make a decision on that. Because you're down to just Kelly back here, and, you know, I'm not sure what you had set up for your billing procedure before that went, so I don't know how cumbersome or how intensive that'll be. I mean, we don't have like thousands of customers, I get that, but, you know, it can be automated and be pretty quick, or it can be not automated and be very time consuming.
Yeah, and it was Connie, it was relatively automated, but she had been doing it for a little while, so she had that experience. So, yeah. Councilwoman.
A single person in the office did it for a period of time also, when there was just one office staff. But I'm going back to the tortoise. Who's gonna make a decision on the tortoise, the turtle?
Our environmental scientist is working through that process, and then once we have what the final answer will be, we'll let you know.
Okay, save the turtle.
Yeah.
We work through it. WC has that, responsibility, and ones that oversee all that, to work through them and all that, but, you know, like I said, we've only got one, there's a process they go through, and if we can, you know, we do, but sometimes you just pay for it and move on kind of thing.
Yeah,
There's been issues over the years as far as, I hear what you're saying about saving tourists, but, we've had issues over the years, and when I say we, I'm just talking in general terms, but they've had some viruses at times that they didn't want to
I get it,
cross-contaminate colonies, if you will.
yes.
So, the FWC's gone back and forth a few times, it depends on what we got going on, but,
Okay,
yeah. But we'll do it with their input and do the most appropriate thing to do.
Can you adopt him? Can you adopt him?
When I was a kid, they used to do that, but I don't think they let you adopt.
Oh, they really used to let you?
I got enough land.
I'm joking.
No. I was like, wow, that's impressive.
No, they used to pay to put them on people's land, though.
Well, and we do have a Gopher tortoise, a sanctuary in the area now. So that one has recently been permitted, so that's a possibility. You ain't really adopting them, they're just relocating.
Thank you, Mr. Bailey.
Okay?
Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, 1B is the budget.
Before we start the budget, do we need to vote on having them on the agenda every month, or are we just gonna put them on the agenda to give us updates?
I think Kelly can just put them on.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll try to make you one. Probably the top, or top 2, that way you'll better. Yeah. Wait for those 2 on. All right. Good question, Nick. All right, so the budget. proposed budget. Yes.
So I have a question, who prepared the budget? I know Carrie left, she got this done before she left, or?
Yeah, my understanding is Carrie had it done before she left, and then Kelly took if there was anything unfinished. If there was anything unfinished, Kelly would have been the one who would have done that.
So one of the things, I noticed last year we did an enterprise budget. I know we don't have garbage and water and all that, and don't we still have to do one?
So Kelly asked, so I called Kelly and I asked her that. So she asked Carrie, I said, hey, did they do one? And she said, since we have nothing, Carrie just didn't do one. I mean,
Okay, cause I know I brought last year with me, and they did do one last year.
they did do one, yeah. No, you're right.
I don't want to miss that, do that for common purpose.
So do we need to amend it to include that?
To add, so we can, or we can approve the operating one and then just
Do an amendment?
have her include, just say, pending the enterprise. Now, the enterprise, I think, would literally just be one line item, which would be the interest that the bank pays us on our enterprise funds, since there's no in and out for any, garbage, water, sewage, or anything.
That's basically what last year. was.
That's, yeah.
Yeah. So I have a question about salaries for office staff. Are we, in light of our difficulty finding a qualified clerk, or do we need to look at that? Is that enough money budgeted for a clerk and an assistant clerk?
For the office staff. Kelly, in that amount,
With that,
the
right?
72,444,
Yep.
how much of that was for, or wait, is that the right, hold on, let me make sure I'm in the right place here.
And
Admin, yeah. How much of that was for like the clerk?
There was like, I think it was 50. Give and take.
That, it was 50,000, assuming if we hired one within 90 days.
Right.
So
Based on experience.
prorated was a little under 38. If we get one sooner, if we get one like in 30 days, it would be a little more. If we got one later, it would be a little less.
Do you all think we should budget more for that, or?
Like more than the 50,000 you're saying?
Right, in case we have to pay more to get a qualified person in here, is that?
I think we should budget more just because of the demands that we have for the clerk.
Oh, like you're saying the workload and.
Right.
I agree for all of the above reasons.
Yeah, we can, yeah.
I mean, just because we budget it, don't mean we have to spend it,
Yeah.
right? So, it's a lot harder to change after we
Go
approve
the other way.
it, if we're short.
So what,
Something you can do during the course of the year too, if you, like you can do budget amendments, like your budget can be amended as you go along in the year if you needed to.
so, okay, so we can approve it as is, which is like pretty much 50. Saying, assuming you would get one in around 90 days. Then do an amendment, if like a clerk comes and you say, I want 55 or I want 60. Or we could just budget for the 60, 55 now,
I say you budget for it now, like give an increase on it now, because if we get a qualified person and then they have to wait for us to come to and approve an amendment, then we could be another 30 days. Say they're in between meetings, unless we call a special meeting, then they're gonna be waiting on us to approve the amendment. So why not give leeway now, and then if we use it, we use it, we don't, we don't. Would be more reasonable to me, but
I agree.
I don't disagree. So y'all wanna put it at like, not that we have to go this high, but like at 60, basically? Okay.
So where do we take the money from to make that happen? I'm saying like from the budgeting perspective, like if we say, this is X number of dollars and we wanna raise it to Y number of dollars and there's difference, to make it the balance out, you gotta figure out where that difference comes from within the budget to, like, you gotta take it from somewhere to put it here if you're increasing one of the line items.
One of two, well, I thought about that. Either I saw like code enforcement, there's $25,000. That's just a carryover from last year. That would be like if we buy code enforcement car, like a vehicle.
And since you're just
We
getting
could just share it.
started in code enforcement, you could like take some of that money and move it and make code enforcement like 10,000, because really we don't even have a code enforcement person yet. But once you get one, see how that goes. You know, maybe then you may have to do a budget amendment later to plug up code enforcement, but you could take some of that money now and move it to the clerk. But if you took, for example, 15,000 and moved it there, like what was the additional money we were trying to find?
It would be
10,000?
10,000.
So I say take it from the vehicle expense of the code enforcement, which is 25,000, make that 15,000, because that's not, I don't think anything we would be purchasing right away for code enforcement.
And now even that number, the admin salaries, expenses, that 72,444, that's if we get a clerk in 90 days. If we get a clerk in 30 days, that number would increase. So yeah, they might not get a vehicle. Or they could share, if we get a part-time one, they could share, I don't know. That was the other main item that I saw that,
What about our current vehicle, our current truck?
We need one.
yeah, that one I'll.
In my
we'll talk about.
mind, the code enforcement would use the current truck where,
Piggyback off it.
no, use that current truck and the new truck would go to the maintenance
Oh, yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Cause we just paid for a truck that's about half dead already, isn't it? Do we know what year that truck is?
Buster?
Buster, you know how old that truck is? That white pickup?
I don't know the exact year. But we got it in about 12, 13.
So pretty, yeah.
So, we just met, how much on it?
I
$3,200?
think it was 32.
We might, well, it's up to y'all, we might just rough it for another year or.
That's not all we need. But y'all way get this worked out.
What about the salary of the code enforcement? Is that more than a part-time?
I think it is a little bit.
I agree with you. This was a carryover from last year, which I thought it was much too high because I thought what was realistic for Fort White for code enforcement is if we just like pay someone per call. Some will say, I'll charge, I don't know, 200 per call. Whatever, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because 30,000 to me, that's like a full part-time employee who's here 5 days a week. I don't know if Fort White needs all that for code enforcement.
I don't want code enforcement around busting everybody, but with this potential growth, we're gonna need code enforcement. And per call is, I don't know that anyone would accept a contract per call because they're gonna be elsewhere. You know what I mean?
That's what's called that's like reactionary, like if you're just responding to the complaint, you might not get many complaints. But if you really want to clean up, like if that's the goal, you may look for more like compliance, which code enforcement officers that are paid by the hour go around and see people and say, hey, there's a junk, there's this car in your yard, whatever. Now, I'm not gonna send you a violation now, I just wanna let you know and maybe, like kind of give people, code enforcement officers, they're not trying to like violate everybody, get everybody fined and do all that. They really on the front end go and try to, because a lot of people will just automatically comply. If it's just pointed out to them that they're not in compliance, they'll figure it out. Like, right, they'll have the junk car, they'll just have to tow to the junkyard, it's just something they didn't do.
No, that's okay. One, the junk cars are. Two, I'll call it more like proactive.
Proactive, yeah.
With this sewage coming, we've got to be proactive, or else we're gonna be feuding with people that we don't wanna feud with, because we want to be inviting.
Yeah, and we have another year
But
before,
that still might only be a one-day thing.
one day, like a
Yeah.
week, 1, 2 days a week. That's what I was thinking, maybe not per, that's probably a better idea, I don't know, whatever, Tuesday, Thursday, but I don't see that being $30,000 a year. That's just me though, I don't know.
So let's just reduce it and take what we need from there to put to admin, and like he said, if push comes to shove, we need to redo it and do an amendment at that time, then we could deal with it at that time, but code enforcement right now is extinct right now.
Yeah, we don't have one. So maybe take like,
Extinct is like,
Well, it
Extinct,
doesn't
we don't have
exist right now,
yeah,
so.
well, I think we're trying to get one, aren't we?
yeah, we put the bid.
So
I would think that's something.
It's, yeah, I think it's on the.
Yeah,
So 30,000 divided by 52 is 576.92, so that'd be 576 a week.
A week.
I don't think we need to pay that much a week for, that's,
I
we
would
just
think
did
so.
one day a week.
a day
Yeah.
might be 200.
Even say we even do 200 times 52.
Yeah, you could probably cut it in half by doing it for like one day a week, it'd be
Yeah,
roughly 15,000 a year.
15, yeah.
Which is also gonna reduce, I don't know, it'll reduce your FICA too, because then that's gonna be reduced based on that salary, so if the salary's not 15, your FICA instead of being 2,200, it's gonna be 1,100.
Okay, so we can cut the code enforcement salary in half? I think that's a good idea, what do y'all think? Yeah, okay.
I agree.
So we get,
With the vehicle, I did talk to Buster earlier today, and, if we do hire one, even if they're one day a week, we probably will have to provide them a vehicle. They could use the old vehicle if we got a new vehicle, like Ms. Terry said, and we could give the new vehicle to Public Works and then just use this one for the part-time code enforcement, and then a backup vehicle. I don't know how y'all feel about the necessity of the vehicle.
I think I think we could use a new vehicle, I just don't know if it might have to wait another year. Or just bite the bullet.
I mean, if you're gonna keep the
Leave
vehicle
that money in
expense, if you're gonna keep the vehicle expense in there for code enforcement, because we're taking 15,000 from the salary already, and that compensates for what we did for the 10,000 that we need for the code, that's more than what we needed to, suffice for the clerk. So really, we can leave the vehicle.
yeah, leave the money in there in case,
If it's there, then I'm sure they'll buy it, yeah. And then that way we can swap it with the one they got. Now, also, the overarching theme is that going into it, the budget as proposed is 35 in the hole.
35 and all.
It's 35, 67, 39 in the hole. So the 15 from code, like when we cut the code enforcement salary in half, that will put us further in the hole. So that's good, but we'll still be 35 in the hole.
well, as Mr. Bailey said, we've got to have some income.
So what was your water revenue prior to 2021 when you started? Is it 21 when you did the interlocal agreement? Like, you're in your budget, you don't have as an income, I don't see it here, it doesn't appear that you have as an income any water revenue.
Correct.
So if you started getting water revenue, then your water revenue could offset your deficit plus create a positive for you, but I don't know what that number is.
Well, yeah, it is. Now, so I know based on what the county has sent us, like for the actuals revenues, it was on track. Now, this was at the end of June, so it could have varied, it could have shifted, but it was on track to be a little over, I think, 300-ish a year. 300K a year. I mean, that was more than, good amount more than the expenses.
Mr. Chair.
I will say, yeah, go ahead.
The only thing I was gonna say is that if we do, I'm not saying that I'm in support of it, I'm just saying, if we do, as a town, decide to, take the water operations back, I don't think any of that water revenue should be used for anything else. Because I think our last problem, Mr. Coon, you were here then, wasn't part of the problem was we didn't keep the money in the bank for upkeep of the plant?
Well, I was spending the money, and when it comes to time to spend the money around the plant, we didn't have it. That's why the county took over to start with. That's why we let the county take over, they didn't take over. That's why we let them run the plant, because they spent the money on the plant that we didn't have. Because we spent every penny of it.
That's an excellent point, and I don't think, as a matter of fact, I was even gonna recommend that if we do take back over the water plant, that we put an ordinance saying we can't use more than, whatever, 5% a year for anything on the operating side, that we keep 95% of the revenues in the, like by ordinance, that way we can. So like keep 95% of it in the enterprise account only for, I agree with that, but even, I think even that 5% would give us a little float. Well, I'll tell you right now what it would do.
I don't think we should do any, because I mean.
Or we could do nothing.
You know, we have to put the money aside, the capital, improvement plan.
Yeah.
Would
Yeah.
take that up, and then, if we are planning on, using that to cover expenses of the sewage, I mean, we need to keep that in reserve. So I don't think we should, use it for anything with operations.
Yeah, or the only reason I say cap it by ordinance is just in case if there's some sort of, I just, in case there's something.
Wouldn't even get into that.
But,
But everybody I talk to just says that's where small municipalities mess up, is when they start taking the money out of that revenue for the, enterprise and start using it in operations. So my question is, the deficits that you mentioned, can those be taken out of reserves, or?
They'll have to be taken out of reserves. The 35,000 will have to be taken out of reserves unless, yeah, that's why I say either something
Well,
on here.
I think we have another issue. I think we need 2 lawnmowers before season starts up next year. Our lawnmowers is in pitiful shape. We've got 3, and altogether, there might be one good one out of the 3.
Well, we got all 3 were operating, but.
Well, yeah,
but
right
yes,
now.
But yes.
The other day, 2 of them were down at one time.
Because they just get patch them up. They
Yes.
patch them up.
I mean, they're old, they're like that truck,
Yeah.
you can't just keep, and them lawnmowers this time of year are what Fort White thrives on, I mean.
Yeah.
That's what we do, we mow. If we can't mow, we in bad shape, I can tell you.
Right.
And I think we need 2 of them, not just 1. So, don't discuss that.
So we need to find somewhere to put the purchase of it. I think I put
I
one
mean,
somewhere.
We got some equipment, like 15,000.
we get money to mow.
Equipment purchase.
That's one income we have,
So we could,
is mowing DOT right away.
Yeah, that's one of the great.
I mean, we,
So we got the 15,000.
right.
So we got 15,000. So we can.
that would buy one.
I don't know. I don't know.
Well, buy one, man.
I know what they
It
got.
might buy
And
one.
I'm saying, that would cover one.
But so my question is, are we looking to, or is the normal practice of the city is to pay it all in one lump sum, or do we get payments over time? You're looking at 15,000 for one that may be spread out over 48 months or something like that, so.
That might be
Yeah, spread out
option.
annually.
That
Exactly.
might be option.
I
didn't
think
say
that's the
that,
best
I'm just
option,
saying,
given the financial.
we need 2 of them. I definitely wouldn't do it over 36 months, cause it'd be time to get rid of it. If you're gonna keep them in good shape. 3 years.
At least.
That's the life of it.
That's what I'm saying. I mean,
In the past, we just,
I've
in
been in
the
maintenance
past,
all
we
my
just buy
life.
them straight out. We just buy them straight out, we get, government contract
yeah,
for about $12,000, somewhere.
For each one?
oh, they've gone up.
Yeah, I'm quite sure.
I mean, I have the price I'm going to,
Well, we might, hey,
because I wanna know
we might
exactly
have to
what
find
it
some
costs.
good used, a 1-year-old used, I mean, or something, I mean.
You don't wanna buy a 1-year-old unit and you wear it out in 3 years, I mean, it'll be wore out in 2 years.
I mean, we could work for free.
That's the one income we do have, I mean,
No, I don't disagree, I'm just saying, we're, you know, we gotta just figure out what,
Right.
we gotta figure out where it's gonna come.
I agree with the lawnmower, and I agree with a straight out purchase rather than payments, because then you're gonna basically buy it 2 or 3 times.
No, because they're interest free, most of them.
Yeah, state contract.
Yeah, it's interest free.
I don't know if you get the government discount, if you finance it or not, I'm not sure, I'll check on
We'll have
that.
to see, we'll have to see.
But that government discount is worth whatever, because you're saving $3,000 to $4,000, $5,000 per unit. But I don't know if everybody agrees with me or not, but that's the one income we do have is mowing grass.
So we
Yeah.
need, the biggest equipment purchases that what I hear that we need is the 2 lawnmowers, right?
Yes, yes.
Probably even more so than the truck. The truck, we could probably get another year out of it. It probably won't be fun, I mean, you know, I'm just saying.
Well, we don't need another truck until we get code enforcement.
In the first place, right, right.
So. Unless it clank out on the maintenance workers before then. But,
What do you think, Buster?
We need them 2 mowers.
Need 2 mowers worth in the truck?
By next season, yes, I think the
That's what I'm
mowers,
saying about.
I think the mowers over the truck.
When we start mowing, I think we need
You
the
know, really,
2 mowers.
no, we get by with the truck. But those mowers, we gotta have them.
I mean, there'll be a little bit of money in the 2 mowers you get rid of.
Oh, yeah, we still, yeah, I guess I'm back.
Well,
yeah, true.
we used to hold little auctions when we had enough stuff. It's been a while since we've done it, but.
I saw 1 or 2 old ones out there, that had ripped the seat out of
We
the
have,
bus.
Use them for parts.
we did used to do a little auction when you had a few things out there.
Well, we might-
We're going back there.
What?
Where is it? I don't know, I'm guessing it's back there.
Is the old backhoe back there?
Yeah,
2 mowers, I mean, you might come up.
I don't know, how much for 2 you think? How much you think for a mower? We said like 5, I don't know, 4 or 5? I have no clue, I'm asking.
I don't know what the mowers would bring, but they
Okay.
wore out, I mean, they ain't gonna bring a lot, I know that. They're gonna-
Well, then we can, I guess, cut the truck
Didn't y'all, you said there was 15,000 and.
that we have in there, yeah. Yeah, that we got in there.
All the other things we would need, I think, I'm not busting, is like maybe a weed eater or something, I mean, they're not much, I mean, we can swing that.
I got
Or
a, yeah,
an edger,
I got a,
I've noticed we need, I don't know if we got an edger, but I noticed we need one,
so I got a list.
walking around town.
I got a list from the Public Works guys. I ain't even gonna tell you the full price tag, but for now, now on option 2 is when we go, come January, or January, February, I forget when they're due, for a legislative appropriation. We can put in for a legislative appropriation, we can ask for $100,000-$300,000 for public work. I don't know if we'll get it, or they might give us only 50 or whatever. But I mean, I think the reality is some of the stuff we're either, we gotta find alternate funding, we just don't got all the money that we would want, you know what I mean?
I agree.
So we can get some maybe from the vehicle, if Buster's saying you're good for at least another year on that truck, then maybe we take from that. Because if we, yeah, you're right, the mowers generate revenue at least with the Greenscape contract, so it's probably smart. Go ahead, Rob.
Looking forward in your agenda, you have down, like there's 2 proposals for planning services. One's from North Florida Regional Planning Council for $7,000, and one is more open-ended where says we'll talk, if you pick us, we'll do basically propose a fee schedule, which I didn't see attached, but you have in your budget $10,000 set aside for planning. So if you reduce that down to 7, then you have 3,000 extra right there that would help toward the mower.
If we went with the, yeah, if we went with that. And so even shifting that, say if we shift that $25,000 from the truck to help get the 2 new mowers, that, that might be the right move as far as prioritization. But that would still put us 35K on.
Well, looking at.
Well, one thing at a time, I guess. Yeah.
Looking at last year's budget, last year's budget, $139,620 came out of reserve, so, it's not unusual to use money out of reserve to
Well,
finance our budget.
I think it had been unusual. That's not. We can only do so many years like that before we're just tapped out as a municipality. But since we didn't do Main Street, and since we haven't done code enforcement, since we haven't paid a clerk's salary in a stable manner, it actually turns out we might be breaking even this year, even though the council did vote to put us 140 in the hole because of how everything happened. We might actually be break even in 2 weeks from now, by the end of this fiscal year.
So you're saying this whole mess has been advantageous for us?
Financially,
Just make sure I'm understanding.
financially. So,
And I had a question about salary for town staff. Are we giving them a cost of living raise or anything? And inflation's going up.
Kelly, what'd you put on this one for your pay?
For like 24 an hour.
What is it, 24 an hour?
Is that an increase or?
Oh, wait, you put 24 an hour, but how long was that for?
Oh, that's only for, what was that? I think that was for 6 or 9 months.
I think 6 months is what you had told me.
Yeah, I think that was 6 months.
Yeah, and then I think she'd be reduced. And then from there, what would you be reduced to?
I think I'm like 18.
I think so.
I'm not talking
And why
about
is
like,
she reduced? I'm sorry.
Well, so she was like, hey, if we get, what is it?
I'm happy not to be.
Yeah, but it was, she assumed within 6 months there'd be a clerk who would be trained up, so she would be doing,
Okay.
fulfilling, much less.
So we did bump her up for this, that's
That's-
fine.
Yeah, that's built.
I just want to understand it, that's fine.
I'm talking about like all the town employees get like a 3% cost of living raise or something like that. Is there anything, an increase for everybody?
So I asked Kelly, so for the public works department, so Buster right now is at 26 an hour. Earl's at 16 an hour. And Gerard is at 14 an hour. Yeah. So how, the 86,720, how it is right now, Buster would keep his 26 an hour until the very end of February, at which point he might not retire. Now, if he would have stayed past that, then he'd be reduced to 20 an hour. I don't know if he's gonna retire or not, or gonna do it in a few months or whatnot, but
His pay was gonna go up.
his pay will go down from 26 an hour.
Why is that? But it-
Well, I mean,
Who came up with that?
my understanding is that Carrie had been working on that. So my understanding is for Public Works,
Were you aware of that? No, I don't think you can do that.
so my understanding is that for Public Works, Carrie was working on, come March, put Earl in charge of Public Works, I guess based on maybe some of the, I don't know, if she was,
Must
some
be all
phone
based
calls
on
she
the
was getting.
voluntary now.
Yeah, if he, well, the way the budget is now, what I think Carrie was working on was come March, Earl will be in charge regardless.
Retirement looking good, but.
And
So is.
And then Earl's pay would go up to 20 an hour if he were in charge of Public Works. And then if Buster chose to stay, since he would no longer be in charge of Public Works, he would be at 26 an hour, he'd be at 20 an hour.
So this is what I call a cat, a dog, is that Earl was being moved into position because Buster was not fulfilling the obligations of what the city needed. Like there was work not being done. But from hearing today, work possibly may have not been done because we don't have the equipment to do it. So Earl, from my understanding, the proof of what Earl is doing is more than what Buster has been doing. And right now, there is no which is on here, there's no weekly assignments, no tracking of work, no this, no that. So I don't think, in fairness, that we can say that we could ride around all day and say, Johnny B. Bryan ain't been mowed, because I know that I ride by there every day, or this hasn't been done, but we don't have a detailed work schedule that they abide by to say that who's lacking where, not that I know of. So that's what was my understanding, that Buster, it was in talks that he was retiring anyways, and so if he retires, or not even if he retires, even if he don't retire, Earl is gonna be moved into the position based off of work that's being done and not being done in the community.
Right. Captain, there you go.
I'd like to know, this is the first I've heard of any of this. I'd hate for Buster to be penalized for not having a mower that works. And I'm the one that wants the grass mowed probably more than anyone. But if the mower doesn't work, you can't run it.
I agree.
And I'm asking an audience participant, are you looking to retire, or is all this?
It's a possibility.
Okay, and even if he were to retire, who puts Earl in that position? And I don't know that I know.
It would have been the clerk. Well, we would vote on the salary, and then it probably would have been the clerk who assigns the personnel positions. Yeah.
So in my opinion,
It's a mess.
we don't take any action until we receive something in writing from Buster. I mean, we just go on business as usual. If we get a resignation from Buster, then we take action. I mean, you don't plan 6 months ahead of time on maybe. So I agree with, there not being any, way to gauge who was doing what, and this is the first I'm hearing of any of these issues too. I do know that the town clerk has the administrator role, and she may have discussed that with more than one council member, but I've never heard anything of it. And it's my understanding that we've given her that role, and she can do the hiring and firing and promotions, demotions. But, if Buster's still employed and he's still in that position, I think that we just leave things as is. My question about salaries, which opened this can of worms, was, are we gonna give all of our town employees a cost of living raise, a 3% or something across the board cost of living raise to everybody?
No, that's not built in. And I'll speak, right, and it's not necessarily an easy or a fun thing for me to say, but, I'll just be frank, I'll just be honest. And I like Buster, and I like Earl, and I like Gerard. The issue can't be blamed on the lawnmowers not working sometimes. Okay? It went beyond that. I didn't want to just come out, with it like in this way. It definitely is uncomfortable. But looking at this budget, looking at the fact that we're already in the hole, being fair, 26 an hour is like $50K or so a year. We can, if it's 2,000 hours, it's a little more. Buster's been here almost 30 years. I value what Buster's doing. We're 35 in the hole. He's the highest, he's making more than the one person who is in town hall handling all the administration for the next 6 months is getting paid. So the council can vote how they want. It might be unpopular, it might not be fun. But me trying to be fiscally responsible, I'm just gonna come out with it on the record. And I see and I speak to Buster every so often when I come in. In my personal opinion, I think the plan that the clerk was working on was a good plan. I think we would see the improvements that we wanted to see here as far as the look and feel of the town. And if we add more, we're just adding more that we're taking out of our reserves. So I just wanted to put that on the record to count, I'm gonna vote if I even get to, if there even is time. Go ahead, Councilman.
I don't mind telling y'all, I'm upset about this. I think he's being penalized. And, I'm just gonna ask you, Bill, were you aware of this?
No.
Monica, were you were aware of this?
Let me tell you how I became aware.
And I don't wanna embarrass Buster in front of everybody, but I'm advocating for you, buddy, I'm gonna tell you.
I became aware of it, and I notified Buster of it. I became aware of it, so there was an issue. So as you all know, that I'm working on Johnny B. Bryant Park, right? So, and Dee's Park. So the county was coming out there, grass ain't cut, nothing. They actually delayed doing the work at Johnny B. Bryant Park because of our maintenance and upkeep was not being done of it. I notified us it needed to be cut, this, that, and third, whatever. So they came to finally do it, the clay was there, and still, the grass up to your knees, everything else, so whatever. So I contacted the mayor to let them know that, hey, you know, the people, they can't do any work, that, you know, it needs to be cut or whatever. So, and Carrie, I think it was, so that's when it became about that all of this, I was notified that all of this was in the working of, they don't know why it wasn't cut, why it wasn't being cut, this, that, and third, and that this was what was in the making of Earl, you know, proceeding, which I don't, it wasn't cut. It just wasn't cut, right? I notified you, Buster, it wasn't cut, and I couldn't dispute that with the county, that it wasn't. I've had residents call me and, you know, say X, Y, and Z, that, hey, we, you know, whatever. But, so that's how I became notified that this was gonna take place possibly during the fiscal, so, and I notified Buster that, hey, do you know, like, you know, this is in the talk, this is what happened, this is how, you know, it proceeded or whatever, this, that, and the third. He wasn't aware either, but that's how I became aware of it.
I'm gonna ask even more, did you have a sit down with Carrie?
No, I did not.
Okay,
I haven't talked to nobody.
this is totally
Yeah.
off the wall, this is not right.
And, you know, when it got presented to me, you know, just, I'm not gonna say a word, I'm just gonna see how it goes. Until tonight, it just came out tonight.
Yeah, well, I'm glad you're
And
here.
you got
Wow.
3 of the 4, I guess the whole council would be in favor of not even going through with whatever they're talking about, if we had to vote on it tonight.
And then,
With going,
With whatever you
favor
talk
of your
about.
retirement?
No, demotion from $26 to $20. You know, I don't have nothing to do with that. Not even presented a 3% raise, which would be fine for everybody except me. It wouldn't even bother me if I got topped out at whatever, 26. That's no problem. But to demote me from 26 to 20, that's unfair, and I don't believe you can do that.
I don't,
yeah, okay, and that's fine. Well, I was gonna say one thing before I recognize you. I was gonna say one thing, so I'm gonna say that.
don't leave me.
So I think, again, I'm just gonna, for the record, it is fair. The clerk doesn't determine the pay, the council determines the pay. We're 35 in the hole. He sits,
Excuse me,
Oh,
I'm
no,
sorry.
wait.
I didn't mean to interrupt you, go ahead, I got something to say about that.
Let me finish. Yeah, okay. He's potentially 6 months to a year away from retirement. We would honor his 26 an hour until approximately that time, and then if he chose to stay, we would just reduce it and put someone else in charge. And also, when Councilwoman Merrick's called me, that was not the only complaint that I had become aware of since I had become mayor. So that's a say on that. Go ahead,
I'm
Councilman.
sorry, you have to, one, address the complaints. Tonight, on today's budget, I had suggested that we have some kind of work assignments for Buster and your crew. And I had talked with Carrie as well as Kelly individually about this several times, more than several times. And Kelly's response was she did a work order, you know, handed him a work order if one came about. Example, I did a work order on the weeds at the caboose.
Yeah.
And I said that Debbie did like weekly assignments and they could always change because a tree fell here or, you know, a car wreck was there and it hit a pole or something. But you can't really judge him if he doesn't have a list of things to go by. And that department has kind of been in flux with all the changes with us as well. Someone needs to guide those guys. And you need to be held accountable. I'm not saying you get a free ride. You need to be accountable, but you can't just jump on it because the yard wasn't mowed one time. And it was about a month ago, because it was the same day, coincidentally, I didn't know that y'all had all this contact, but I'm willing to bet it was the same day. Is Rocky Ford still back there, or did he?
He stepped out.
Rocky and Clint Pittman and I had a discussion at the tourist development meeting about the clay and about the condition of the fields. Because they're just distraught about our fields, because they were comparing our field to the South Park field, which those guys treat that field like a golf course. I mean, they're on that thing
That's all they do.
24 hours a day, and of course, they're not on it 24 hours a day. But there definitely can be improvements from y'all's end. But if there's not a lawnmower, or if there's 3 guys trying to do 5 guys' work during the summer, that's a different thing. And if there's not itemized things, a checklist for these guys to do, whether it's generated from that office, or I suggested Bill, and Bill, I don't even know if you're aware of it, if you read the agenda, you're aware of it. I suggested you work with those guys, because I know that you've already proven it tonight with your lawnmower discussions and everything you know about maintenance. I mean, I mow yards more than anybody, but I don't wanna be over these guys.
Well, Councilman Harry, you have been waiting, I think, to say something in that.
I'll yield to Councilman.
Okay.
As far as, you just said, clerk don't set the price, we do.
Correct.
Well, who authorized companies check next year? You just said the clerk don't do it, the council does.
Right.
So who? I didn't do it. They're not aware of it. I think Monica don't want to know a little bit about it.
Who authorized cutting his pay?
No.
No.
Yeah, somebody did. Somebody got record of something, cutting his pay next year.
26 to 20,
Who did? Who
if I stay to March.
No one authorized cutting pay.
Who authorized that?
You just said it.
We're not authorizing that. We
Not
just-
cutting, not like making checks.
We are the authorizers of the pay for.
We didn't do it. I think it was gonna be a proposal to the council
Oh, yes.
to do a such thing. It wasn't in stone. But in
Y'all
reference to,
presented it like it was done.
no, I think when it came to me, it was gonna be a proposal of that. And that's not,
Okay, I'm not
whatever.
through.
But however,
I'm not through. I've sat here and let everybody
Yeah,
talk.
go ahead.
I'm not through. Butcher's been here 30 years,
35.
35 years. He deserved to make way more than the rest of them guys. Now, if he's not capable of doing his job, that's another story. Has he been pulled in and talked to him? Has anybody brought him into office and said, Butcher, we've got these complaints on you?
I think legally you have to have counsel.
Yeah, I mean,
You
You
just
can't
can't.
just cut the pay.
No, we can absolutely, we can cut our pay right now in half.
I'm for helping work with them and let's get on the schedule. I'm for that.
Go ahead,
If
go ahead.
it comes up, but changing his pay like that ain't.
Go ahead, Rick.
So in your budgeting process, when you do, like, this isn't his pay, he has that job. The budgeting process is these jobs. You could completely eliminate the salary line item altogether, which would effectively eliminate the job, and that person would be out of job. I'm not advocating you do that, that's not what you do. But in the budgeting process is where you assign because you're doing, this is your budget, you've gotta make it work, you've gotta make it balance. How does it balance? If it balance, people get pay raise, people get pay cuts. I don't know how all this turned out, but you can do the salary adjustments in if they don't like the salary that's being proposed for the fiscal year, they don't have to keep working there. You know what I mean? But I'm not advocating that, but you do have that power in the budgeting process to control your budget. They do it at every level of government, county government, state government, federal government. They move things around to accommodate whatever it is that the will of the decision makers are, which are the five of y'all. you may look at, if you wanted to look, if you haven't had an increase in salaries for the employees and you want this gentleman to remain at his place, you may look at that, may revisit that water revenue because they're public works, and I'm sure they probably help out at the plants and do things like that. And they, maybe not really, okay. I mean, I don't know where do you find the money? It's your job to find the money from somewhere too.
He doesn't, no, it's not made now, but he's the only one that has any knowledge of that process. Didn't you used to read the meters? Bill?
Yep, we garbage too.
And he's the one mowing, we just bragged about all the money brought in from the mowing, and talked about, let's give him a lawnmower, but take away his pay.
Sure. Yeah, go ahead.
So, I personally agree with Councilwoman Terry and Councilman Coon in that, you know, from my experience as a supervisor many years, if there's a deficiency, you call the person in and talk to them about it. I talked to Buster on the phone today about his equipment needs, and he explained to me that the equipment's in such bad shape that is the reason the town grass has looked so bad this year. I mean, and he said, I know that's a reflection on me, but he said, I can only do so much with the equipment we had. You know, it was in the shop a lot of times. He said, I have to explain that to people. But if he wasn't given an opportunity to come in the office and speak to his supervisor and explain that, then that's not fair to him. Second of all, you know, you sit down and you talk to someone about their expectations, and you get on the same page. Like Ms. Terry said, you give a list of assignments and tasks, and then you inspect what you expect. And if your expectations aren't being met, then you call that person in and you put them on a performance improvement plan. You don't just decide arbitrarily that we're gonna, you know, put somebody else in that position. That's a demotion. And, you know, every government that I'm aware of, you know, you have people that have job security, and you keep and retain your staff, your experienced staff, by giving them longevity pay. And I agree with Mr. Coon. He's been here 35 years. He deserves to make that much money, you know? So I brought up the cost of living raise for all the town employees, and this came out. So, you know, I'm upset about all this.
Yeah. I mean, I'll say for the record, I think any government employee doesn't deserve a raise based on how long they've been there. I think they deserve a raise based on their productivity. I think that's my position on,
That's
including ourselves, that's my position on government employees in general when we talk about taxpayer dime. But, fine, so 26,
With this budget, was we gonna hear this, or was we just gonna see this number? Was this gonna be explained to us?
And does Earl know?
Y'all saying this was
Yeah,
gonna
I
be
think
in
it
the
was-
budget?
I don't know that part.
that.
Y'all saying this was gonna be in the budget, was this gonna be explained to us? The reason the money's like it is?
Go ahead.
So a lot of times what happens is you have a budget workshop. You have two generally. You'll have budget workshops, and your clerk will present you with a budget. So all of these things that you're talking about can be asked of the person that's putting the budget. We haven't done that. We're now at like essentially your first budget hearing, where you all are receiving this information for essentially the first time. The clerk, and I understand, like, if you've never done this before, you wouldn't know to do this. So I'm not faulting the person before who didn't know to say, oh, I should do this workshop and get them up to speed, so that my bosses aren't sitting there not knowing these numbers and how they break down when it's being presented to them in a public, like a workshop is a public meeting, but in your formal council meeting. So really it's the clerk's job to educate you and get with you on how these numbers do break down and how that affects the people that you serve. But that didn't happen, unfortunately. So it kind of puts us here to sort of do it on the fly, if you will. But that would be how you would know, because it's uncomfortable, because you're like, I'm getting these numbers. Where do these numbers come from? And that should have been explained to you line item by line item by your chief executive. but I don't know that your chief executive even knew to do that.
I knew, because I spoke with her a couple weeks ago, but
I have
if I hadn't, go ahead.
one last
you-
thing
you-
to
you
say,
can wait.
because all this came about because of complaints related to my project, which is how I know about it. But, so my resolution was that us as council members hold obligations too. So we're holding Buster accountable, but we have people that never visit their area to see what's being done and what's not being done. So people get complaints because, I get my citizens call me if somebody run the stop sign and run on the grass. So I know everything. So you can't, with Buster, holding him accountable if the persons in where the complaints are coming from is not being responsible for their district to see what's being done and what's not being done. So I think there's some accountability that lies within council members to know what's lacking in their area also, to be able to go to Buster or to Carrie or whoever and say that, hey, this is not being done, can we look at this or whatever, instead of just directly pointing a finger saying that, what's his name? Gerald is doing this or not doing this, Buster's doing this or not doing this, or Earl's doing this or not doing this. If the council members are not taking accountability for their areas, who the citizens appointed us or voted us or however, or trust us to do, then we just can't blame Buster and the public works people.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, but go ahead.
I want to respond to that. One, I'm not blaming Buster, the Public Works. Two, I feel like I take responsibility in my area. The things I hear about the most are the cemetery and the caboose. And the cemetery I went by today, perfect. There are 2 new big limbs down there that need to be chainsawed. But I was out of town all last week and the hedges had to have been done last week or else they were done today because it looks great. And the caboose was taken care of. It took longer than I wanted it to take. But I drive the area and people talk to me. I can't go in S&S and get my Diet Cokes without people talking to me about that caboose and depot across the street and about the cemetery. Those are the 2 main things that I get.
Okay, so what do we propose the pay be?
I got
I
one
want
last
to
thing.
ask one more thing, I'm
I
sorry.
got one last thing.
It's not a mandatory retirement. Did all this retirement come up with all this backlash you're experiencing?
No, just something that I might decide to do.
Okay,
I think, what is the meeting in 2 weeks?
Well, the second, what do you mean?
About, I thought it was about this budget, I thought that's what we was going,
Well,
I didn't think we was doing this
It's
tonight.
gotta have 2 readings here. It should have 2 readings.
Well, I see the time and we've gotten absolutely nowhere.
Yeah.
I think we ought to table this to the second meeting, being that's all it's gonna be about, and move on.
That's not what's gonna be
You already
about.
said you gotta leave.
I think we have to do 2 readings for, I think that's per the charter.
So just, if you could withdraw the motion to table your first budget hearing. Also, you allow for public comments on the budget, so you can open up a public hearing to allow the public to comment, so you get any input from them, and then you do the same thing at the second one. That way you've had 2 public hearings on it, the public has had a chance to speak on the budget.
We could do another meeting.
Mr. Chair.
Well, the 29th is the second budget hearing, but when you have your first budget hearing, the reason that you're having 2 hearings is so you have an opportunity for the public to speak on the budget. So during your budget hearings, because what you're essentially doing right now is sort of a budget workshop.
Okay.
It's unfortunate, that we didn't have, this isn't the way, you should open it up for a public workshop. It's not your fault that the person didn't necessarily know anything about governmental accounting and budgeting and all that from a governmental perspective, because your previous employee came from the private sector where they do it different. Accounting is the same, numbers are the same. but your budget hearings and stuff like that, public enterprise doesn't have to do all that. They don't have to consider the public's opinion because it's their money, like it's their budget. And it's the people's money, so you have to give the people an opportunity, if they wanna comment on the proposed budget, you have to give them an opportunity at the budget hearings.
Okay, Councilman Harris, yes.
So, Mr. Bullard, I was gonna ask you, and I did a little research on this, and I'm not exactly sure, that's what I'm asking you. The two hearing process is required when you have ad valorem taxes. But I couldn't find anything where it says it's required if you're a non-taxing.
What happens if you don't, ad valorem tax one thing, but you also get taxes from the Department of Revenue. In fact, that's most of the money you're getting, like discretionary taxes. And if you don't follow governmental accounting practices, in other words, if we don't follow the process, just like for ad valorem taxes, if we don't follow, my understanding is Department of Revenue can say, I'm not giving you your state road maintenance money. We're not gonna authorize DOT to do that because you didn't do it the right way. And so, like, that's the, you're right, we don't have ad valorem taxes, but there's other ways the state can hold your feet to the fire if you don't, like your sales tax revenue and stuff, if you don't meet, like if next year you get an audit ding, I don't know how much. I gave Kelly a cheat sheet last week when she contacted me about how to do budgeting, because I felt like that would help her, and I didn't know how inexperienced your staff was until I got into it, and then come to find out there was a level of, they just didn't have, I mean, I'm not knocking the lady before, but she was doing the best she could with what she had, but she just had never done it before, so you can't necessarily expect her to do it right there off, I don't think.
So the other thing I was gonna ask you, I think we need to have a workshop, and then we could have a hearing immediately after, before that last meeting, because this just came out in discussion about raises. I mean, I wouldn't mind going line by line.
So you need
Y'all
to
wanna do it
have
next
this in
week?
effect October 1.
Yeah.
So you have this meeting, then you got your one on the 29th, which would be your 2 meeting. You could throw a budget workshop in there,
Do it next month.
you could do it at some point in time. But really, you wanna have your budget in place by the beginning of your fiscal year, because that's what, that'd be a big red flag at Department of Revenue too, that
Yeah, we'll have to have passed it by the 29th. Do we wanna table this to do another meeting next week? That's the question right now, relevant to us.
I wanna say something unrelated, and I don't wanna be here all night, but we can't have meetings where as soon as you sit down, people report they gotta be out of here at such and such time. Cause I mean, you gotta go the distance, and I don't mean midnight or something like that, but I mean,
What do we wanna do?
I gotta go to that workshop.
Okay, what day next week?
I wasn't expecting this tonight.
What day next?
I don't know where these numbers are coming from.
Yeah.
Or where we can go with them, put it that way, not where they're coming from.
So what day next week do we wanna do? Or this week? The 22nd? Oh, wait, hold on, I'm looking at October. September, no, that's right, the 22nd of September, I'm on the right one.
I can't do the 22nd.
23rd? I think I don't know, I can probably be free. For Tuesday?
I'm good, I can't do the 22nd.
We can't do that? Well, let's see, Brett, when are you free?
I can do the 23rd, I can do the 24th, I could do the 20th, I think.
24th,
26th. My Monday's bad next week as well.
24th or 25th, can anyone do that?
26th is Friday, I can do it on a Friday.
yeah.
I could do it Friday, I'd have to do it a little early Friday, I'd have to leave early.
About this week, any day this week?
I think my granddaughter is coming in down.
I think the only day I might be free this week might be tomorrow.
It don't have to be a.
But if you're doing a workshop,
If you're earlier.
you have to give reasonable notice of that. Reasonable notice generally is
26th on
defined as 3
Friday.
days. So
I can do it. 4 o'clock or so, but I got grandyoungers coming this.
Yeah, it should be more than an hour.
I quit me down before I told them I couldn't see them.
And that would give us time to.
That's why I gotta
notify,
leave tonight, but it's okay.
But-
I mean, I don't know, right?
so that would give us time to notify the public,
3 days, yeah, it'll give us 3
and
days.
then the 26th at 4.
The 26th
I
at
can be here by
4, I could do that, I think so.
We can have to be earlier than that if we need to be.
Or he
So
can do
next
earlier.
Friday
We can
at
do
4
it.
o'clock.
How early can you do
How
it?
early can you do it?
I'm free all day. the 26th.
How about y'all? Maybe Friday, about 2 o'clock, will we, how long will it take to do
What
this?
about Red?
Shoot, you know.
I can do it at 2 onward.
From the 26th, or the 9th, wait, the 19th,
Yeah.
what are we talking
The
about?
26th.
Okay,
That's Friday, that's what you gonna do it early.
26th.
Is that Friday?
At 2? Yeah, Friday. And then we have that Friday, then we have one the next Monday. So, that's okay, I guess, but,
So 2 o'clock, the 26th.
yeah. Right, you can do that, the 26th, 2 o'clock? Can you two do that? Okay, so September 26th. At 2 o'clock. Okay, so the floor's open for a motion to table the budget till September the 26th at 2 p.m.
And September the 26th is just a special meeting for the budget, right? We don't have-
Workshop.
I mean, workshop.
A workshop followed by a meeting where we have to vote to approve it the first time.
Which is, so you're having your first budget hearing right now. You should open up a public hearing and allow anybody in the public to comment on what you've been. That gives them, the public, the opportunity. Then close the public hearing. If there's nobody, does anybody want to speak on the budget? Like, you could open up the public hearing and close it real quick?
Sure, I'll speak.
Okay, so there's one person.
But
So I mean, you know, but you
I don't think we should cut Buster's pay 6 to 5.
You can come on, say your name.
So we would open, so you would make a motion, somebody makes a motion to open up the public hearing. That way it's open, everybody says yes, and then the public hearing begins, public can comment, and then that gentleman would be in order. So that's how.
Okay.
So somebody has to make a motion.
So they,
I make a motion to open up the floor for a public hearing in regards to the budget.
I say,
The second, all fair side? All opposed, say nay.
Kevin Bradbury, Country Rivers Realty.
What'd you say?
Country Rivers Realty, Kevin Bradbury.
Oh, okay.
So I don't think you should cut the salary by $6 an hour, that's kind of ridiculous. Especially with him not being counsel, he should at least be counsel, I was supervisor myself and the business owner. And I would never do that without counseling him first. And then to put it out like in public, like you're kind of demoting him and he didn't even know. I mean, it's, you know, if I was in it, ready to retire, I would, you know, ready to retire. But I don't think, you know, like you said, he should be counseled first. And if he's not living up to the, you know, then go ahead and do it, but I don't think we should just, you know, arbitrarily do it.
and for the record, I was totally unaware of this.
Yeah, see, that's exactly the council itself should, like you said, with the workshop, talk about it, and then if it's needed, of course, fine, I mean, stuff has to happen, but, you know. And then if it's because of the mowers, like the mowers, you know, if you don't have the equipment, you can't perform the job, then, you know, that should be taken into consideration too, so. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So what do I see now, if anybody else wants to make public comment, or,
Does anybody have anything? So then you make a motion to close the public hearing.
and then if, go ahead.
And then you make, like, if there's no other public comment, somebody makes a motion to close the public hearing. Now you're back into regular session. You've had your public hearing. Public has been given the opportunity to participate because they can't just pop up and talk. Yes, ma'am.
I was gonna make the motion.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, yeah, the floor's open.
I make a motion to close the public hearing concerning the budget.
Is there a second? So, all fair side?
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion passes, okay, we're still doing the 26th at 2, right, Brad?
That's what I'm about, right?
yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That was item 1.
That,
Anybody got snacks?
that was item 1, okay. Town planner, we got 2 options, I think. The North Florida Regional Planning Council and the Land Planning Group. 7,000 is what the first one costs, and I think 10,000 is what the second one costs.
So I will say that, I called and talked to, someone at the county, Columbia County, and asked if they knew anything about the, council. And, of course, they said that there were some good people out there, some knowledgeable people, but they're very, very slow. So that, I confirmed with some other people, and, that was a negative to me. I actually, spoke with the gentleman with, LPG. Yes, have you spoken?
No, I won't back
No. Anyhow, he, told me that he would agree to all of the items in the, RFP that was put out for planning, including if the council desired for him to come down here in person. He said if need be, I'll come in person. If the council okay with me doing meetings by Zoom, then we'll do it by Zoom. He also, looked at the, council and, you know, had some words to say, but he basically said that he, you know, would be a full service planning, you know, the private firm versus the council, would be more attentive to the town's needs. And he would do all the town-related planning, including helping us update our comprehensive plan, reviewing our, land development codes and regulations, making recommendations to update them, you know, processes, everything. He would get involved with that, and he could do that at a flat rate of $10,000 for town-related planning. For other planning services related to development, he would propose a fee schedule for those to be recovered by the developers. And he said, you know, if McDonald's showed up in Fort White and they wanted to put in a McDonald's and they had several $1,000s worth of planning that needed to be done, you know, the town wouldn't have to foot the bill for that. And he said that's especially important for towns that don't have ad valorem taxes and a lot of revenue streams. So, that looked like a good, option to me. And it sounded to me like we'd be getting a little more from that, which would justify the added cost.
quicker response times.
Motion to.
Floor's open for a motion.
I'll make a motion to go with this guy.
Land planning group,
This guy.
Michael.
the land planning group.
I second.
Okay, all in favor of going with the land planning group LLC with our town planner, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. All right, we're going with that guy.
And I just want to say again, it sounds like he's gonna be very proactive, so that again is.
So hopefully, yeah, hopefully. All right, that brings us to, we're making record time, folks. It's 7:44, we're at 9:03. The decision on the water plant, we got the notification here from the county. We kind of already had a little bit of that earlier discussion. Which I think where we left off was the, we gotta choose. If we want to notify the county that we want to allow them to do it into the utility authority. I mean, I think everybody knows how I feel about the water plant, but, or what do we want to do?
Mr. Chair.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, Rhett. I know you said something about, you know, if the county were to contract with North Florida Water Utility to perform the operations and maintenance, how is subbing that out? I mean, we would have a contract with them, so that would just be like subbing it out. How is
You have a contract with the county that says they will run your water plant. The contract also says if they don't do that, and they assign that responsibility to somebody else, which they told you they intend to do as of October 1, you have to consent to it. So you could consent to the assignment, the water utility then runs your plant if there's revenue, if they get it, and then you wouldn't get that revenue. The consultant has told us that if you don't have the water revenue, you don't have a way to offset your anticipated negative sewer dollars. So you could essentially do for yourself what the county's doing for you and keeping your profit. You can do it yourself and keep your own profit, at least to see if it works, because the water utility, if they use the same people the county uses, what stops you from talking to the people who are running your water plant now and saying, hey, would you just run this for us? Like, unless they tell you, no, we won't run it for you, then that could be a problem. But I don't know why you would, like, give away an opportunity for there to be revenue, knowing that there's coming up on a potential for a deficit in the sewer, when the person that we've paid to give us the information and talk to us about it, Mr. Bailey, has mentioned it on several occasions, like you have to have some you need to have some water revenue to offset this negative sewer dollars that are potentially coming up. If you don't have that, you're gonna have to find a bunch of money. And so if you couldn't run your own water utility, that could present a problem. Maybe at that point you go to the water authority and say, hey, can you run it for us? But it seems like you should try to somebody else is running something you own and they're getting your profit. So why can't you run what you own and keep your profit? Would be like one question. But if you don't want to do it and you don't want to have profit, then that's your prerogative. But how do you plug the hole then for your negative sewer dollars that are coming up? Like you'd be, that's like it was like 80-something thousand. The hole was Mr. Bailey's, I think, projection in a year. So, and he had said when he did his presentation, there would have to be a way to offset that. So I don't know do y'all have a suggestion? Because your interlocal agreement is with the county. It is not with the water authority. And I understand that they can come in and say, we're no longer doing this, the water authority is gonna do it, and it'll just be a seamless transition. They'll come in and do it for you. But you don't have a contract with them. But if you don't say anything, they could then say, we told them we were coming in to do this, they didn't say no, they de facto entered into an agreement with us, so we're gonna be doing what the county was doing, and we'll keep the revenue, because if you remember, the water utility authority is running in the red itself. So if your water plant is making a black number, a positive figure, and something that's taking over running your water plant is in the negative, you're gonna make them less than the negative, you're gonna have no money, and they're gonna be a little bit better off.
Go ahead.
Seems like.
We have got to have a revenue. We've got to have an income. We've got to try it rather than just give it away.
Yeah, I agree.
So I make a motion that we try to run this water, not let the county assign it to someone else.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Can I ask a question first?
You can.
What are you proposing that we do? Take over everything? Like the
Just
meter
like-
reading, the billing?
We'll have
Is
to.
the
Well,
meter
that-
reading on
That's
that?
what I wanna be clear about what we're.
Yeah.
It'd have to be, we have to decide, like, do we wanna wait, the 60, whatever, however long till we get a clerk, then let the clerk do it, we can talk to Kelly, see if she's kind of willing. It's a software system and it's pretty automated,
Yeah,
and Kevin goes through and just scans the meters, and
That's another thing I wanted to be clear with Mr. Bullard about is, for quite some time, we've been allowing the county to have, twofold water do this, so them just switching the provider or sub who they're, I just don't get that part of it, but.
In other words, you should do you potentially, but I understand, and I wasn't here then, the county did something with helping you all with your water plant, put some money into it stuff. They've been running it for you to get back some of that money. Sound is what I have been hearing, but then I don't know how much this is, but you also gave them some money to build a pipeline to your town to bring you water that you don't have yet. So You got a pipeline that comes here that you can't get water out of, and you got a water system that you can't get water out of, that's making a revenue. Like, it would seem as if you don't, like, the interlocal agreement will be over, you don't have to consent to the assignment. You contact the people that are running it for the county and say, hey, can you run it for us? Because they're already running it, they're not gonna not wanna make the money.
It's twofold. Now, Rhett, let me ask you a question. If we wanted like a 90-day buffer window, because I recommend we talk to Kelly first, just to if she's okay with it. Like a 90-day, can we say,
They're telling you they're out of the business October 1.
period?
They've been saying that since I came in
Yeah,
July.
so it is what it is, okay.
So the reality of it is, you're either going to say, okay, we're not gonna try to do it ourselves, and we're just kinda gonna let it go in the way in which it's going now. Or you're going to see if you can
Take a shot.
do it.
So one of the things, so there is a year notice on both ends, and of course, Mr. Kraus is not an attorney, and he did say you have to consult your attorney, and your opinion's been given. But my conversation with him today was that, you know, there's a year notice on both sides, so if we were to notify them tomorrow, they wouldn't, be done with that contract for a year, is my understanding.
But they told you they're getting out of it. They're stopping doing it October 1. You have a contract with them. It's like if I have a contract with someone to come mow my grass, and they tell me as of September 1, I'm out of the grass mowing business. Well, I have a contract with them, but if they ain't doing it anymore, what am I getting? So, in other words, like the county is essentially getting out of the water and sewer business like they told us. So you've got to decide, do you want somebody else to run it for you, like the water authority, or do you want to run it yourself? Because the county's told you they can't run it for you. Or do you want to get a third party to run it? But at this juncture, the people who were running it, which is a third party essentially, I would think you would go to them and say, hey, can you run this for us? And they'll probably say yes, because they're
They have.
already running and making money.
So, okay, hold on, so we got a motion, we got a second.
I got a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
I don't want y'all to think hard on what y'all talking about here. You said we need a revenue, right off the bat, you said we need a revenue. Every penny of that needs to be put up. That's not revenue. Alright, that's not a revenue, alright? If anything goes wrong around there, we're responsible right off the bat. If we have no money put up a $500,000 tank or a $150,000 generator, y'all think about it before you vote on it. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, we got, okay.
I'm not saying it because it's a revenue. It is a revenue, rather who says it's not the type of revenue that we could just use for anything, but the bottom line that somebody is seeing some black off of it. So there is some revenue, regardless of how we proportion or what we assign it to, there is revenue in it. So whether we say that revenue is totally to go back into the water plant, then that's what it's for, but there is some revenue. And right now, we're paying the county to do the same thing that we were doing, which is to pay twofold to run it. So we haven't seen water come in, which we did give $1 million from my understanding, which was prior to my time. So we're paying the county right now. I mean, the county, we're letting them have this for a what if. So what if we never have to, do anything to replace it? I mean, I understand that it's old, I understand things that are gonna happen. But right now, we're paying for something that we could have just continued to do with twofold for a what if this failed, which it hasn't done so far. And how long has the county had it? In 4 years?
Yeah, make like, and
So, I mean, there is some revenue, it's just not revenue that we could put back into our pockets to say we're gonna give our employees a 3% cost. It all goes back into the utility source itself. And the other factor is, I think I talked to, was it DP or something? If you don't have the water, you may as well go ahead and give up the sewer, because water and sewage works hand in hand. And the grants that you are gonna get from here on out probably will not just be for sewer. It will be for the combined together once the sewage system is up and running. So if you're not gonna do the water, you're gonna give your sewage revenue away at the same time because it works hand in hand and you can't.
Yeah, now,
Do y'all think the county took over that and didn't spend no money around there?
Oh,
So-
Would y'all like to hear what they spent? Like,
we,
just give them a small little,
look, hey,
It's,
it's 756.
it's revenue with a risk.
It's
it's
right.
a big risk.
Every revenue has a risk.
Yes.
We,
Not a
we-
big
we-
risk.
we are in the risk management business. That's why we have 5 people up here to make decisions on behalf
No,
of
we're
the town.
not.
Okay, well, that's why the rest of us are there, but,
That's why y'all up here.
Mr. Chair,
So-
one more thing for me.
okay. In 180 seconds, we're gonna vote.
I don't know. Anyhow, so I heard you say also that we had the option of negotiating a contract with the utility authority
That's a possibility.
and retain some of that income because the county's getting the profits right now. If they transfer that over, which I don't understand the transfer versus subbing it out, but if that's your legal opinion, then I have to go with that. But, you're saying that we can, in lieu of taking all over ourselves, the operation and maintenance and everything, and taking on that risk, and not even having a meeting to talk about the logistics, we could negotiate with the utility authority and say, hey, what kind of contract can you offer the town of Fort White, whereas we retain some of the profits, you all provide services, and then the other option is, I talk, to people, we have the option of buying wholesale water from utility authority, if we wanted to go that route with Ellisville Water, and there's no risk on the operations end of it.
Right, real quick, Fred.
So here's, so who here from the county or who here from the water utility authority is here tonight advocating for you to stay with them?
We haven't given.
You know why? Because they've already heard Greg Bailey say that you need this water revenue to make your sewer project.
Mr.
And-
Ford here.
And I know, I'm saying, but are you here on behalf of the utility authority to speak on their behalf of your?
Well, I am the chairman of the board of the
Right,
utility
right.
authority.
I didn't know if you were here to negotiate on their behalf or anything. I thought you just used the county commission.
Well, I can't negotiate on behalf of the utility authority,
Right,
but nobody has asked the utility authority to negotiate.
correct. And
So-
so there's a possibility, not like we could never do it. If there's a possibility.
And so, right, we could only negotiate with the utility authority if we first take back the water plant, right?
No.
Yeah, you got, well, the interlocal the county has told you, the county has an agreement with you to operate your system. They've told you we're getting out of this. They've told you in a polite letter, there could be this really smooth transition, which they don't mention anything about you have the right not to assign this contract to somebody. Just saying. But if you didn't agree to the assignment, the interlocal is over because the county's no longer in the water and sewer business, some other entity is. So you either do it yourself or do it with them, but you can't do it with the county anymore because they're not doing it anymore.
Okay, we got a motion and a second to not accept the assignment and take back over the water plant. All of us, aye?
I move that we table it,
Aye,
pending a
All
workshop.
opposed, we gotta finish this vote. What were the ayes? All opposed say nay.
Nay.
No.
It comes to me, aye. Will, Rhett, will you work on a letter for responding to this,
Yeah, we'll just advise them that according to their local agreement, under the assignment provision, you all aren't intending to assign any rights that you have under that interlocal agreement to anybody else.
to the utility?
Right, but we can directly come back and if we wanted ourselves to negotiate with the authority. Now you have control
Now-
ourselves to negotiate directly with Twofold or the water authority to provide services.
Right.
Right.
Instead of just
So what are we gonna do
transferring.
October the first?
Hmm?
What are we gonna? It's my understanding that the county intends on continuing to provide services for a year, even if we end the interlocal with them.
That's not what I.
So we may have a year, I don't know.
If contractually they can bind us for the additional year and they basically renege on this letter and say, they would have to renege on this letter in order to honor the interlocal. In essence, they would have to, or else But what David Krause, back when I spoke with him, and I gotta go, he said that it was, that 1 year provision was in there to protect Fort White. So that it wouldn't just be like, hey, you have 1 week, good luck. It's, hey, we'll do it for up to a year if you want to be released sooner or whatever. Y'all just let us know, we'll work for there to be a smooth transition. Is what David Krause has told me on multiple occasions.
Well, the contract says that it automatically renews annually if you don't give notice by October 1 that you aren't going to be doing it. And if you give notice, then it opens up a 12-month window. But here's the deal, there can't be a 12-month window if somebody's outside of the business.
So that's what I'm saying, they would have to renege on this letter in order to honor the interlocal, or they gotta pick one.
My other question is
Well, you could do an interlocal agreement with the water authority, just like you could do an interlocal agreement with the county. The reason the county's interlocal agreement is like going by the wayside because they're out of the business and they're letting somebody else do what they were doing. And in order for that authority to be in the business with you, you would have to agree to allow them to assign your interlocal agreement. If you don't agree to the assignment, you can negotiate with the water authority, you can negotiate with Twofold, whomever, to run your water plant.
how does the, reversion agreement for that backhoe and dump truck play into all this? Cause,
Well, if it's based on what the county commissioner said, it shouldn't be a problem. If it's based on what's in writing, we're about to need some more funds.
I looked at a version of the reversion agreement, it said that if we transferred over to the North Florida Water Utility Authority, then the backhoe dump truck would stay in place, but if we didn't, then it kinda looked to me like we may not be able to retain that dump truck and backhoe, so, we may have to buy a backhoe dump truck to run the utilities, I don't know, but.
Well, we'll have to use the old ones or legislative appropriation or something. That's why I was against that interlocal. Because if it's good enough to tell me over the phone, it's good enough to put it in writing, or so I think, but whatever.
It's my understanding that the county would have let us out of the agreement to join the utility authority, but if we want out of it for just GP, then, yeah, there's a year. But,
Yes.
Assignment is opening the door,
I gotta get out of here.
changes everything.
what if they let us out of the agreement effective October 1st?
What if who lets you out?
The county.
They don't have, they told you they're no longer doing the service, so multiple times, since like I was here in July, the gentleman came and said, we're not doing this, giving y'all heads up as of October 1, we're not doing it, like, they've been telling you they're getting out of it, and now they're, effectively, we're here at the juncture, and now there's this, well, if, it can be a seamless transition if you just, like, we're transferring all of our stuff to the water authority, you will, in effect, be under the water authority. But what contract do you have with the water authority to do anything for you? They could say, we're gonna charge you, and this is how much your water costs. They could run your water plant, charge you what they wanted to with your, they could, essentially it could.
That's why he said they're not transferring. The county's gonna continue to honor the terms of the agreement. They're just having.
The county can't honor the terms of the agreement anymore because the county is out of the business. Like, they're not doing, like, you have a contract with the county. The county is saying, we're getting out of it, somebody else is doing it for us. You don't have a contract with them, so it doesn't matter what the county won't be doing it anyway. And the reality of it is, I don't know who's doing it for the water authority, maybe it's still Twofold. So, because if the county's out of it, the water authority is new-ish, then who's running their systems that are in place? The same people, do we know the answer to that question? Do we know? Like, do we know who is it?
North Florida Water Utility Authority.
They're the people who are, like, they're not the Twofold, you don't use them. The utility authority doesn't use Twofold. Okay. So you could either use Twofold, you could use them. Sorry.
We don't use anybody yet, and we don't take over October 1st.
Gotcha. I was just trying to.
I mean, you're saying a lot of stuff
Was there the
that
anticipation?
are not factual, is what I'm saying.
Okay, what have I
Yeah,
said that was
well,
not factual?
I'm just saying, you said a lot of stuff that's not factual, so.
Is it
I'm not gonna disagree with you, it's not my place, but, you know.
Is it, I just am trying to have you all understand that you have a contract with the county. If you want to just say, hey, we can just let it be this, we can just like do nothing, somebody else is gonna be running the water plant. If you're getting a revenue from your water plant now, they'll be getting that revenue. And you won't have any revenue to offset your sewer deficit. So this budget, situation we're having this year, next year will be even greater because you'll be looking for like $100,000 more to, or however much Mr. Bailey said, 60, 80,000 something in your negative sewer number. That it didn't seem to me numerically that your sewer plant project could work without you having some more revenue.
Did you
I
have
just want-
something?
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So, from what I'm hearing, is it the town's intention that they're gonna maintain and operate the sewer plant and the sewer system also? Is that what I'm saying?
So that's not my intention is to have the autonomy and the capability to make an informed decision, because from my understanding, we didn't really need to rely on the county for operational purposes, because you all use the same company that we were using to do the same operation. We were relying, and our trust was that if something happened from a financial perspective, we were secure on that end. So it's not, for me, it's not saying that we're gonna take over, we're gonna continue to run this, we're gonna do this. My thing is to take over until we can figure out what it looks like for us to maybe go with you all and negotiate our own contract or our own revenue sharing or whatever, and just not totally adopt what the county already has in place, or what, to basically be in control of our own contract from the ground up with authority, if that's the direction that we decide to go. Also, if we were in it for financial protection, one of the questions that I want to know is, if the utility authority is already in the red, where will you all get the money to help us if we have to do a $500,000 replacement right off bat? So these are all questions that I want to ask them to be able to
That's
make
fair.
an
And all
informed
that's fair,
decision.
please. All that's fair. And
That's it.
and that's what I'm saying. If, you know, we don't know who to negotiate with the county, to be honest with you, the utility authority. We don't know who to negotiate with, because nobody's really taking charge. But I will say, the lawyer made the comment, I heard him at least twice, say that your consultant, and I assume he's talking about Mr. Bailey, said you can't run the utility authority without the revenue from the water. But I've never heard Mr. Bailey say that. I've heard Mr. Bailey say you have a negative in the sewer, and he don't recommend you take money from the water to operate the sewer. And I've heard the mayor say that, but I've never heard Mr. Bailey say that. And I've been to, I think, every meeting y'all had, so, and I think if Mr. Bailey was here, you could ask Mr. Bailey that question. Me personally, I've never heard Mr. Bailey say that. I've heard Mr. Bailey say that he don't recommend the town try to run the utility.
He alluded tonight that we needed the water, and what we decided tonight was that we were not going with the assignment. And I agree with everything that, Ms. Merrick said. Now we're gonna move on. Y'all good with that? The fourth thing on the agenda is the state-funded grant agreement for the Elon Street approval. Remember when we had the last meeting, Amanda Dix was kind of in crisis of getting everything done. I spoke with her again today. Everything has been done. All that's required now is the mayor's signature. Kelly, are you still listening in there?
I am.
So we just need to make a motion to approve ULON the way it is, and we're gonna get it.
Is that fully grant funded?
Fully grant funded, $355,000 in grant funding. So somebody make the motion, please.
I move that we approve the agreement for the Yulon Street.
Will that totally pave that street? 100%?
I spoke with her again today, asking that, because when I spoke to her previously, she was not aware, she was concerned. I mean, she had major red flags going up. But she spoke with her boss since then, and I can't tell you who that was, but, they feel like everything's good. And it's in our packet as $355,000. So we just need to approve it as is, he sign it, Kelly send it forward back to him. So who just made the motion? Second?
I say,
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody that disagree? So that's done, Kelly.
Yep.
Okay, so NFPS approval of invoice appropriations, water infrastructure improvements.
Don't know
I
what it is.
don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, that's for approval to pay, because it's over, the clerk has limited.
Say it again?
There was an invoice, I think it was 12,000 that came from their office, it's in the
Just
packet.
approval to pay the invoice.
For what?
For the water, for the, pre-construction activities for the water infrastructure,
Water
which it should say, I think that would be,
Water is better than around there about the school. Not sure.
There's a description down the bottom, see it? That would determine the survey components, specs.
We can't hear you in there, at least I can't hear you in there.
Is that,
See it at the bottom, there's a little description, what it's for.
It says route determination, survey performed, 60% drawing draft, specs are completed, and an OPC and draft bid form prepared. For 12 hours.
Hey, Kelly,
Item 5,
it's got the appropriation number up there. Is that the water loop down there behind the school?
Say that one more time?
Is that the water loop project?
Oh, sorry.
He's not sure. But whatever it is, it comes from contract amount, 120,000, bill to date 60,000, previously billed 48,000. So it's somewhere in whatever it is. I don't know whether it's for the water loop or whatever, but apparently it's in the contract amount. It's something that was previously approved because we paid $60,000 so far. So I don't know if Bill and Ms. Here, y'all are the only ones that may possibly know, because it was before my time.
So we gotta pay it, someone make the motion to pay it. And I see that 48 has already been paid. I'll make the motion to approve for payment of the NFPS approval of invoice appropriations, water infrastructure improvements. Somebody gonna second?
I'll say.
All those in favor say aye. So that has passed. Approval for a resolution affirming power of clerk.
so that was a resolution, basically chapter 177 of Florida statutes changed effective July 1, 2025. Your local governing board of a county or municipality needs to designate by ordinance or resolution an administrative authority to receive, review, and process the final plat or replat submittals, including designated administrative official responsible for approving with conditions or denying the proposed final plat. So instead of naming any one particular person, because your clerk is your chief executive, I just did a resolution to comply with that law that went into effect July 1, that designated the clerk as the land development regulations administrator, and as the person to have this authority from the town. Now, future you wanted to change it, you could just do a new resolution, change it. But to comply with the law as it currently stands, you need to designate someone to have that role now. And you'll note too, probably, if you saw it, sometime after I sent this in, the planning council sent you all one that was essentially the same type of resolution to kind of help, because they know a lot of people may not know that the law changed.
And so the designation of the town clerk would not require us to change it each time we had a different person in that position, correct?
Yeah, just be who, because actually I just named it the town clerk, because it was whoever the town clerk would be. Now, if you wanted to change it and make somebody else in it, you could.
So
I make a motion,
yeah, go ahead.
I make a motion for approval of the resolution for R 2025, governing power of the clerk of flats and replats approval.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
No.
Aye. Opposed? Okay, that's good. Number 7, table dissemination of information. I think this is, your suggestion, Lonnie, that's been going a couple of meetings now.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to tabling it again, the mayor's not here, I think it's important that our council have
Okay.
input on this.
Okay.
Uh,
But I will say, I think it's important that all this information is shared. And Kelly has shared, I don't know that we talked about this face to face, that Amanda Dick's concerns about you, you weren't here at that meeting. Did you read that email?
Yes.
And I spoke with her after that email, and she was really concerned.
That we didn't get the.
Yeah, and that's the first I was hearing anything about it, just like the Buster stuff. I think we need to know what's going on rather than just show up and say yay or nay. But I agree, we'll table it and let.
The only thing I'll say about it is, the purpose of this is sharing information that was provided to me from Ken Parker, who is the International City County Manager Association Senior Advisor and Florida's City County Manager Association, so I would consider him an expert. Many years of service as a manager. And these are just suggestions from him on how the council and the town staff should be sharing information. And so,
And we'll discuss it
we can
again.
discuss it, we can choose what. One thing I'm gonna say is we did a clerk's report a while back, which is in this, that we had already imposed. But I think, we should be getting updates on things that the council passes, like from month to month. If we pass something at this meeting, then we should get an update at a meeting in the future saying that that has been implemented, or, you know, that is in progress, or what, you know, what the status of it is, and give us updates until it's implemented. You know, just so that we're not in the opinion or impression that it's been enacted or implemented and it never has been. So, that's one of the things. And then I'll just say one more thing. Ken said that in his experience, that the state of Florida will most always send emails from different departments or whatever to the mayor. He said that's just protocol. He said they don't differentiate between a weak mayor form of government and a strong mayor form of government. So he said in a weak mayor form of government, it's the mayor's responsibility to forward that to the clerk for dissemination to all the council members so that we're all informed. Because you don't want to find out about something in a meeting. But he said in turn, if something comes to you as a council member from, you know, anywheres of, you know, importance, it's also our responsibility to forward to the clerk for dissemination. So it goes both ways. But he said that, you know, the state of Florida will follow their protocol and 99% of the time just send their email to the mayor. And he said, you know, when a weak mayor and council, you know, he may not be able to act on that without, you know, the council making a decision. So that's why it's important, among other things. So, but we'll table this and we'll all talk about it and decide which ones we want to implement. I think it's important we do that with the new clerk from the start, and I think we'll have better.
So that's a motion to table it.
Yes, motion to table.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? So that's good, that passes. Number 8, tabled Civic Plus website subscription renewal. We've let this go a couple of times. That's our website. And I don't think that to my knowledge, we haven't done any searching for others. And I do remember that Connie had said we'd lose everything that we have with this one. That's why we voted on it last year, to just stay with them.
Did we get any other quotes, Kelly?
No, not yet, not
No.
yet, Lonnie.
I think, Rick had gave us, the last time we discussed this about Civic Plus, you gave us another name.
Oh, Municode, that's what Civic Plus is now. It used to be called Municode.
I think the problem is that we're getting what we're paying for. So I don't have an issue with renewing it, but who is responsible for ensuring that we're getting the services that we're paying for? Because right now, I could do what's on our website, and I am technically inclined at all. So, I think thus far that we're not using it to the full functionality of what we're paying for. And I don't think I don't know if that's a fault of theirs specifically, so.
I'm probably saying what you just said, but I think that we, the town, can use it wiser.
Right, so I think we renew it, but we also use it to the capacity of what we're paying for.
And one thing I'll say in addition to that is we don't have like a procurement page. So when you go to other towns' websites and you look at it, you're like, oh, they got
We don't
this,
have
they
a
got
lot of
that.
things, but I think the capability is there, it's just what we have informed them or allowed them to do for us in the past. So I think us getting together to say what we would like to see,
Do we wanna table it one more time and let somebody talk to them?
I think we only have until
October 1.
October 1.
Oh, October 31st, I'm sorry, it's due date. On the invoice, it says it's due date October 31st. So you could do it next month.
Could you investigate that?
I can. I will say since the last meeting, I did talk to, small town, I can't remember. And, I asked them who they used and, they were using Civic Plus, but they were paying a lot more than us, so we probably do have a pretty good rate, because his was over $5,000. But they're a little bit bigger town, so I don't know if it's based on the amount of services that they provide through the website. But,
I say that we renew it, but we make sure that we're using it,
Okay,
so
formally make the motion.
I make a motion that we renew the subscription with Civic Plus website.
I'll say.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Okay, number 9, approval to pay invoice for Michael Pope, last invoice of $2,500.
I think we already agreed, I think that was something discussed when we were in transition, and I think we really already agreed to that, so I make the motion to approve to pay the last invoice for $2,500 for Mr. Michael Pope.
Second, all those in favor say aye. Opposed? So that passes. Number 10, RFP for code enforcement inspector. I think there was something wrong with the post or something.
Yeah, I put that on there, and so, I looked at the RFP that was issued, and it's for a part-time code enforcement inspector. And, I think the council approved, an RFP for a code enforcement officer. And so, I contacted Carrie about it, and, she said she just didn't realize there was a difference. And so, I recommend that we repost it as a code enforcement officer And code enforcement officer defined in Florida statutes, which, is in the packet. It talks about the job, the authorities it has, et cetera, et cetera. So I found in there, it's not in this one, I don't think, or maybe it is, but, basically a code enforcement inspector is, maybe an employee that works under a code enforcement officer may not have all the full authorities of a code enforcement officer, which I found somewhere in Florida statutes, so.
So I'm gonna cut you off at that and ask you to relay to Kelly what needs to be posted.
And I provided Carrie a copy of one that High Springs had done not too long ago, I think last year. So I can forward that to Kelly.
I'm just using Kelly, cause Kelly's who's in the office.
So we're just changing the title that we thought.
Yes.
Alright. I didn't know what to do. Good catch.
So we need a motion.
Duly, that was an action we already took, I was just pointing out that it wasn't done.
So you'll just get with, Kelly, expect the email on what,
Yep.
okay. Number 11, the Fort White Soccer Club requests free use of community center, for 11/15/25. And I think there were a couple of other dates listed.
Right, they weren't available, but she was fine with this date here.
So my, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I know we did talk to, and that may have even been before I was on the council actually, but I was here and there was this discussion about that, and I know they talked about the council allowing them to use it for a short period, but, I know we talked about this and doing it, and it's a good cause, but we just have to formulate some kind of a standard here, because if we do it for one, we gotta do it for all.
Exactly.
And so can we really afford to do it for everybody?
I think that we'll get in, and that's what you were not on the council, and I explained that to her, like, if we get in the practice of just letting it be, well, what she wanted is to have preference as the Fort White Soccer Club, and that, they use it or whatever, but you also run into the baseball, people have, so if they wanted to rent it out every Saturday, not rent it out, but have it every Saturday when they have tournaments, we're gonna get into a sticky situation if we say yes to one and not to the other. My thing is what exactly would they be using it for on that date? Is it just for people to go in and cool off and use the bathrooms? If that's the case, there's bathrooms already at the facilities, what specifically do you need it for that day to be able to accomplish, is my thing. So if it's just because you wanna have access because it's a tournament going on, I don't see.
I think we can't just keep saying yes to all these nonprofits. So I vote we say no. For the free part. Anybody wanna make a motion on that, or we give it to her, or what? And I have nothing against soccer, but that means baseball, that means softball,
I
that
agree.
means basketball.
I agree, but we just said yes to another nonprofit, so I just wanna be very meticulous.
What was the other one?
So we just said yes to breast cancer or something with the church and all that. So here's my thing. I want to know what specifically do you need the center for that? Is it something, are you gonna be doing a dedication ceremony that day that you're gonna be giving up? I think we need to know the purpose of it, not just because you're having a tournament and you wanna have access to the facility.
So what about this? We'll find that out before September 29th.
Okay.
So we'll
I
just
agree with
table
that.
it? We agree to table? And Kelly, can you find out what they wanted?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, here's, and I'm sorry, I know,
I'm trying
it's
to go too
me
fast,
tonight,
I'm sorry.
but I'm normally, move on. But with that being said, because we're such a small community and everybody comes to us for a donation, whatever, I think we need to have something set in place that we're able to give these nonprofits a discount.
You're right.
And instead of just giving, the
You're right.
facility for free. And then to have it written in policy that full rental payers takes precedence over dates. if you know, whatever. So I do agree that we have to support our nonprofits in, some way, but we just can't keep everybody gets the facility for free.
Are
So I think that's something we need to visit also, is putting parameters in place for nonprofits.
Are you suggesting we charge them like half price or something?
Whatever
We're
we
gonna
come up
find
with.
out what it's used for,
Right,
and we'll talk about it on September 29th.
right.
Okay, number 12.
Do I need to make a motion to table that?
Go ahead, my bad, go ahead.
I make a motion to table, the Fort White Soccer Club requests for free use of the community center on 11/15 until September 29th.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye. Opposed? So that's good. Number 12 are the estimates to fix the train depot, the electric box that just flopped to the ground. There's 3 estimates, one's a lot less than the other 2.
I move that we approve the least amount estimate, which I believe
I
is.
want to say it was Holly.
Yeah. I move that we approve the estimate from Holly Electric in the amount of $1,275.12.
I second it.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No opposed. Okay, 13, request for approval for the Town of Fort White yard sale with Gardening for Change. We informally approved that, but it was never at a meeting. So because I'm the one that stands out there and does everything, I just wanted to make sure it went to a meeting. So can we have a motion to approve that?
That's for the yard sale, the pancake breakfast, and the Christmas.
Well, I'm doing that one separately because it's a different date. I can do all 3 of them. The Gardening for Change is on November the 1st. Pancake breakfast and the Christmas parade is on December 20th. So if we can approve all of those, and that would give us the community center not paying anything. And last year we ended up paying for the cleaning, but if y'all remember, the place was clean. Do we still agree that it was clean? And Debbie went down there before it was clean, if that's what your face is about.
But I'm confused as to why, if it was the town doing something, why do we, never mind, but, okay. If it's the town and we're promoting something for the benefit of the town, what's the fees for? But that's done, that's not here.
We paid $200 to clean it,
Okay, that's not good.
and that was
But I make a motion,
over here.
to approve the Gardening for Change yard sale on November 1st and the pancake breakfast with Santa and Christmas parade on December the 20th.
Before you vote on that, I'd like to be the one that does that, and that's buying, remember, I don't know if you were here during that, Bill, you were here when I wanted it loud and clear that I would be spending money and getting tickets and all, receipts and all that kind of stuff. The collective was real active in that last year. We had a lot of support, but those guys were physically active as well as sausage active. They were excellent cooks. So I think that we can promote it as a joint effort this year. And I've already got quite a few sponsors.
I amend my motion to include council member Catherine Terry to be the chairman of these events.
I'll second.
Without complaints.
We'll be complaining about something. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Kelly, that means you and I will be working back and forth with the
Yeah.
monies,
Yep,
okay?
I got you.
And, those guys will be going to Sam's for, money, spending food money, they did that
You're the
last year.
chairman, so you can
Okay.
whatever.
I just don't mess with money. And then I didn't write down the way it was changed, so tell me if this is right. The Fort negotiations is next.
No, 14 is the status of the FERDAP grant, myself.
Yep.
So where we were that God lives, Kelly and Carrie. So as you all know, it was a big mess. So in the we are at the final stages, and Jeremy said we are good to go as soon as we get the commencement notice, right?
Correct, that and the
So-
budget analysis, yep.
Which he should already have the budget analysis. The only thing he told me was the commencement notice, and we had gotten all of this, and I think Kelly was working on it to send it to him, and then she got bombarded with a whole bunch of other stuff, so it was sort of pushed back. So now, what he's working with Kelly, and I think Kelly asked for my permission today, which you're gonna need my permission, is what I told her, is to, get with the mayor or something, cause I think he was working hand in hand with Kelly too, on the commencement part, cause they had never done it before, and we had never done it before, is to get a new commencement to begin for them to approve. But from my understanding, he didn't tell me anything about the budget analysis, cause I've done that prior, so we shouldn't need that. He just told me once we have the commencement, that we'll be good to go. So that's just the process.
So both parts are gonna see some type of improvement additions.
Supposedly, and Johnny B. Bryant has already got the clay from the county, and they did the bases, and the home run and the foul line post, which we didn't even ask them to do. But, so, and then the next day after they replayed it, it was people up there practicing T-ball.
Good.
So,
Good.
but it just has to be up, Kelly.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
And this is unrelated, but I went up there today, and it is very much related. That spigot, remember the spigot that's near the field, the dugout? At that same tourist development meeting, Clint Pittman said that that spigot cannot be operable because people drink out of it.
Mhm.
And it cannot be, we cannot allow people to drink out of it. And it has to be a water fountain. So either the twist thing has to be removed, or there's some kind of cage you can put over the twist thing.
Right.
And I told Carrie and Kelly, the day after that meeting, we all sat here and talked about it, and I noticed today that it was still.
Yeah, I learned a lot of things
And that had to do with the grant, that has, yeah.
Yeah,
Clint Pittman said that was like, whoo, red flag.
Yeah.
Real quick.
they went up there and they did it, he's informed me of a lot
Yeah.
of things that need
So
to be done, but.
now this is just me with my own worldly experience. You know how sometimes you have to do pliers on a spigot? They just need to take off that little handle, so that someone would have to use pliers or a vice grip to make it work.
I think they just totally need to be removed, but that's my problem.
Well, ideally, we'll one day have a water fountain. Okay, the next thing, was suggestions creating a public works checklist. And I had suggested Bill be involved in that. Are you still gung ho with that, Bill?
I will help them until we get some,
Yeah,
I mean, if that's what everybody wants. I will help them get a list together
yeah,
of what kind of daily things to do. I mean, I'm sure they're gonna be pulled off from time to time, and they will understand how we're gonna bust it. We'll make some kind of daily or weekly, whatever you wanna call it, plans.
and I know that Debbie did do that weekly,
I'm sure they did when Tony was here.
and you're kind of grinning. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I was just shocked it was on there, but nobody knew about, because that was something that was talked about. It
We're
was
still
on,
thinking about it.
it was on here.
I had it
and
on here several
nobody
times.
knew, but this was all in the talks of, it's on here of discussing this and why possibly
Yeah,
the stuff came up, but it was total, this
so what about,
comment was not in relation to that. That's what I thought it was.
No, I didn't know what it was about either.
But, so,
what about this? If you have any ideas of things that they can,
Of course, anybody call in and gets a work order.
right,
I mean, if somebody contacts any of y'all, y'all call up here and get the work order done.
there's a work order online thing.
But we're gonna just kind of get like a daily or a weekly
Yeah,
plan.
you know how you
So
go
this
in the
is-
restroom at Wendy's and it says who did the
Well,
cleaning last?
from my understanding, when this came to my knowledge, is that each person right now has an area. So, and they take care of that area. So, and that's their work. And some areas are upkept more than others, which is how they came to
I got you.
this assumption. So I think that, I don't know if, apparently that's not working correctly, so I don't know if we need to come together to say that, hey, on Mondays this happened, Tuesdays this happened, because apparently it being split 3 different ways,
Yeah,
some areas are not being taken care of.
so Bill, are
As
you
well as
willing
other
to sit
areas.
down with these guys?
Yes,
Okay. So, can you contact Buster at a
I'll
time?
get with Buster tomorrow and then I will set a date. I'll have to take off work to meet with him, but I
Well,
can do that.
are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay,
We can come up with some kind of strategy that
and,
will work better than what's working now, I guess.
and Kelly, in the meantime, if you could find any old, and you might not be able to, but any records that Debbie had done weekly things?
Yeah.
I don't know if
Cause I know like, I'm
anything
making this
official or
up, but
not.
Wednesday set up the.
And I'll ask them
community
about it
center.
too. I'll ask them about
Yeah.
it too, but, I mean, 'cause they was all here when Debbie was here.
They do give weekly, you know, like every day of the week, they turn them in, like what they've done,
Yeah,
what they've done.
what they've
But they
done,
don't have a system, I guess, I don't know.
well, we'll figure something out there.
Well, if Bill can see
Till the
something like
30th,
that,
sir.
to go by.
I've been in maintenance a long time.
And when we were talking about the electric thing with the train depot, I wanted to once again bring up, so y'all tell me if now, if I'm out of order, Mr. Bullard, that the email from Troy Cruz with those corrective, we need to get those done. Do you
We
remember?
voted on that.
We voted on that and nothing's been done.
Well, we need to find, we need to advertise it for a contractor to come in and
No,
do it. What are you talking
There's
about?
several things that Troy
I think
went in.
it was simple things like high.
Well, some of it is, and some of it,
Okay.
I mean, when you got a public building like that, you can't just have anybody go around there and do it. Some of the stuff.
I can replace.
Well, I'm
wood
telling
on
you,
that
you
ramp.
can't.
Yeah, the train depot, I mean, the box was one,
Oh, the box is totally separate.
yeah.
The others were,
I mean,
wood on the deck at that back door and a few pieces of board on the ramp and a couple of windows.
I mean,
I
the
mean-
boards and stuff, that may be just simple work orders that we need to put in for the
They have
guys.
work orders, after the meeting, I gave them the work orders, by Troy Cruz.
well, that's another thing too, when they get a work order, they got so many days to do it. I mean, anywhere I've ever been,
So,
turning in a work order, you got so many days to get
yeah,
that work order done.
and I don't know that we officially voted on this, but I've talked about it several times, and this might be out of order, so you correct me, of moving 2 of those picnic tables from Johnny B. Bryant under the carport and replacing that wood.
Work order.
Okay. Replacing that wood, I got quotes at Lowe's today, and it probably wouldn't be $300 total to have basically 2 brand new picnic tables. Because, you know, some of those are really messed up.
Can I say something
Yes,
about that?
please.
All because, so, I have never been in Lowe's, I mean, I use Lowe's and stuff too, but when we're doing projects like that, could we consider our small town
Yeah.
businesses
I have no problem
first?
with that. I was at Lowe's anyway, so I
Okay,
got the
Yes.
quotes.
okay. That's just not,
Yeah.
we would prefer to keep money inside.
And I
then
think
reimburse.
if it's work order, I think they go where where they usually go anyway. Like, we didn't make any decision concerning where the truck was fixed.
Okay.
To my knowledge, I know I didn't. Did y'all know anything about the truck? So,
I don't know if there's any place really to buy lumber. I mean, Ace has got it.
They-
Yeah.
they might not have that size, to be honest with you,
I
but,
went in there and bought 2 before one time.
I mean, I don't know, I was just
Well, they
saying
ain't
to
cheap anyway.
consider,
No, but I'm just saying some things, it's easier to run down there and get a pole. I don't know about lumber.
Mr. Bullard, do you have any kind of update on this, the fort?
So I spoke with Ms. Logan, Megan Logan, the school board attorney, on Thursday, and she indicated to me that for number one, the school issue, the school board, it did appear, is willing to deed you that property as well as the, some parking for that. And she said what she needs from us, from me, is a formal letter. So I told her when I come to this meeting, I would ask, can you all authorize me to write a formal letter to the school district, asking the school district to give you that property? That's what they need to be able to set the ball in motion for you to give it to you.
Did we first find out a better estimate on the insurance?
That's not my job, like I'm not here, I mean, at the end of the day, like you shouldn't pay me $175 an hour car insurance,
Okay.
rates for you, but
We should do that.
But it should be something that you would have like Kelly or, and I sent Carrie an email about this, but then she left, about like steps to go about doing. So if we don't wanna send the letter just yet, I don't have that information, but if I were gonna take on a building like that, what I would do is I would find out what my insurance costs were gonna be
Exactly.
and what the, like any information I can get from the school board, which they said they're willing to give us anything that they have, because you wanna know what is the cost of just the general, I mean, just the basic upkeep of it,
Yes.
because you're taking on, you could be taking, if insurance, number one, you could be taking on, we don't know. So we need to find that out.
Yes.
Then, find out like anything we can about it. It just hasn't been, I know there's been a changeover and you're shorthanded, so, but that's what Megan said. She said, if you give me a formal letter, I'll be happy to, the school board's wanting to let this go. But maybe if
That
we
worries me.
give, maybe if we give,
Let's wait and have the mayor, weigh in on it as well.
so we wanna just table this?
Yes.
And then vote.
And this was just discussion, so
Yeah,
But if we authorize you to do the letter,
we don't need a letter yet.
We don't want it.
Find out all this
well,
cost.
that's what I say, we could be
I don't ask
pricing,
for nothing.
because we'd still have to approve the final.
An agreement, a contract, right? Like, we could ask them for it and then do our legwork. That'd be one way to do it. We could do our legwork first, just to get an idea, just on a few things, and then we could write the formal letter. I don't think they're in a super duper rush. I did tell them we talked about the road closure issue. They agreed to survey out the property, the road that we have to deed it to them. I said, well, if we can get a survey on what we should be deeding, because we don't have that, that would be, we could be a little further along with it. So Ms. Logan agreed that they would survey out the property that they're wanting to close for the school. But I'll get that, when I get that from her, I'll let you all know what exactly
And
it is.
with the road, we still wanna make sure that there's enough turnaround space from the cemetery.
Mhm.
Like if that means a
Can you request like
dead
a
end circle, whatever that's called.
sketch or diagram to, there's some point of reference to where it stops and starts, so we can go out there and eyeball it?
And also, I don't know if the school board would give us like what their cost analysis on what it's costing them to,
Maintain
just the basic maintenance right now, and it states that it's, well, what would we be adopting from
it.
them?
That's what I
as a-
want to see.
So your insurance rate potentially could change because you'd be adding an asset to what you're insuring. There is an elevator in that building, as I understand it. So elevators have to be, like monitored and, but I don't know what the maintenance cost of that, I don't know what that's upkeep is. I'll try to find out, sketch diagram of streets, hold on. And then,
Air conditioning maintenance.
just the folder.
While he's writing, I'm gonna say something else that just popped into my head. Doug Sanders, with these FERDAP grants or with anything, are we,
I
I'm done with
I've
it.
been, when I got into this and seen how bad it was, I've been said that I wouldn't, it's not my preference to,
Okay. I don't think we can do anything
With
for
We
it.
can't, but
but
I'm done with it.
But I think that the grant writer that the county uses also, and the city uses for some things is, what the city uses a lot, is, Shannon Williams.
Yes.
She's come here, I think, at least twice to solicit.
Okay. I've sent her an email and never got a response, so I've kind of left her alone, to be honest.
She did have a surgery, she was out like
Okay.
15 years for a while, she did tell me she did
I'm
have a
sorry
surgery.
for that, but that makes me feel better that she
Yeah.
didn't just,
Yeah, but she brought like, I think flyers and
Yeah.
something here for us, I don't think, did we ever get them?
I didn't
She
get
told
anything.
me, told me that she did, so,
and the historical grant, not the historical grant, the historical recognition of the depot, the guy from Tallahassee is pretty much doing that anyway, it's not Doug Sanders.
Shannon Williams is the one that wrote the initial grant for that, to get that all moved back here and all of that, she said she's the one that initially wrote the
Well,
grant.
that's great, and I know Jim Lance was really involved in the council
Yeah.
at that time, so that was a big, big accomplishment. So that's a big feather in her hat. Yes,
Did we miss the deadline for the next, for that period?
It's supposed to be in September, so I think September, well, we are in September.
Yeah.
So it had to be finalized, from what I was told, it had to be finalized and everything had to be invoiced by September the 3rd, which we're coming up on. But
Yeah.
talking to Jeremy, there's sort of like some
leeway.
leeway in that, but he didn't specify, but that is something that Shannon Williams was gonna talk to us about, when I talked to her, is the deadlines, all the grants that's available to us, you know, what she could go after, how much money, all of those things that she says that she do for other towns and that we're just not tapping into.
There's,
So, she said it's out there, we just don't,
yeah,
we're not tapping into it. So I think I'm gonna try to reach out to her and I'll see if she's available to come on the 29th to talk to us.
okay.
And then that way we can vote to proceed with her or not, because we keep talking about it, but
And
we're
can you
doing
try,
nothing
can
about
you
it.
kind of hint to her to get the ball rolling for,
Well, we would have to vote on that
Yeah.
for, I just can't give her direction to do that for
yeah,
us.
but I mean, I don't wanna
We
miss
have
that window.
Yeah, so, yeah, I'll reach out to her to see if she's available the 29th.
Comments from our gallery? You still with us? Do you still awake out there, Mr. President?
Everybody else is left. Everybody.
Except for.
Oh, you're it. You're it.
Are you calling for a motion? to
Yes.
adjourn? I make a motion that we adjourn.
Thank you.
Second.
Oh, that's it. We're done.
All in favor, say
Aye.
Thank you.
Good night.